Always a poignant moment. We shall remember them. And also Liverpool Football Club, with both their men's teams and their women's teams wearing a poppy on their shirts, auctioned to raise funds for the Royal British Legion's poppy appeal. Last year, Liverpool raised more than £63,000. So we're about to get underway here. Jurgen Klopp watching on in the stands. We'll keep in touch with the Rugby League World Cup semi-final, currently on Sports Extra. England-Samoa, Katie Smith.
Yeah, England thought they'd levelled things. It was Callum Watkins out on the right, had two men hanging off and grounded the ball. Video reviews, though, showed he lost control just before it went down. So no try. England 0, Samoa 4.
Watch that on BBC television as well as listen to it on Sports Extra. But here we are at Anfield. I'll run through the two teams for you. Liverpool playing from right to left, all in red. They have Alisson in goal, Alexander-Arnold, Gomez, Van Dijk and Robertson. The midfield three of Thiago, Fabinho and Elliott, Salah, Firmino and Nunez are the front three. For Southampton, who are attacking the Kop in this first half, Bazunu is in goal. Back four of Salisu, Chaleta Sarr, Kotchap and Perot, Ward-Prowse, Lavia, Armstrong, El Yunusi, Adam Armstrong and Shea Adams. And in fact, straight away, it's actually a back three, isn't it? El Yunusi is actually going to be playing as the right wing back, it would seem, Pat Neville.
Spotted right away. They're trying to move it about a little bit. El Yunusi will try and get up the field when he possibly can. But you're right, when they lose the ball, it will go to a back three with two wing backs.
Well, they've lost the ball there, and El Yunusi looking for the run of Shea Adams, and Gomez will touch the ball back, and it's quickly out from under his feet in an all-lavender goalkeeping outfit by Alisson, as the cross comes in from El Yunusi. Not a bad one either, and Adams couldn't get over it, out for a goal kick.
I think he was shoved there, and I think Adams thinks that too. Right in front of the Kop, he's about 5 yards out. He's just about to go up the head. I think Alexander-Arnold's just behind him. Just a little nudge when he's going for it. I tell you what, Alexander-Arnold has to be very careful in those situations. He wasn't going for the ball.
It was enough, though, just to put him off, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, because when it was coming over, you thought, gee, Adams will get to that. It absolutely looked like that.
As far as World Cup watch is concerned, of the 7 Liverpool players who are bound for Qatar, 5 of them are playing today: Alisson, Van Dijk, Fabinho, Nunez and Alexander-Arnold. And we will, well, Ghana announced their squad on Monday, but I'm imagining that Mohamed Salisu will be in the squad for Ghana, and Amel Kotchap, the German international, has also been named in the German squad. James Ward-Prowse, Gareth Southgate hinted on Thursday, although there was no definitive standby list, but James Ward-Prowse would be on it. Nathan Jones, of course, is the new Southampton manager. The club he left behind has been an early goal at Kenilworth Road. Charlie Slater.
Yeah, they're feeling it. 1-0 behind. Jamie Lindsay with the volley for Rotherham United. Only 50 seconds on the clock, but it's the visitors who lead here by a goal to nil.
Mick Harford in caretaker charge, as my eyes are diverted by a solitary red balloon that drifts slowly into the air, then it dips back down. I think that might well be popped by Alisson very, very soon.
So is it intriguing that we were talking before the game, the way Klopp, actually just a moment,
over the top, Nunez enters the penalty area, lifts it and coolly chested back by Salisu.
That's very impressive by Salisu, under a bit of pressure. Didn't know really what was behind him, but he chested it back to his goalkeeper. Just mentioned beforehand with Klopp, he must have stood in that halfway line for 15 minutes staring at the opposition. Now we know he always does that. He was trying to get an idea if they were going to play a back three or a back four. He didn't get much out of it, but he knows fine now. However, he's not on the bench to do anything about it.
No, he's not, with that immediate ban handed down by the FA, as Perot. First cross was blocked on the left-hand side, playing from left to right as we look. It's a Southampton throw. He has talked about the changes, though, at Southampton, and he's saying it doesn't really make Liverpool's challenge any easier, because a week ago they knew what to expect. But just to give you an insight into the meticulous detail, he's also had Luton Town watched as to how Nathan Jones would do certain things as well.
Very impressive.
Throw from the left into the penalty area, headed out by Gomez over the head of Ward-Prowse, and Southampton win the ball back 25 yards out from goal. Down the line it goes. Stuart Armstrong makes the run. Gomez tight behind him. Liverpool get the ball. An early try then. Katie Smith, England, Samoa.
Yeah, we've got 13 minutes to play in this first half. England 6, Samoa 4. They couldn't make it count when Samoa were down to 12 men, but finally they get the breakthrough. Williams dumbing through the centre, offload to Elliot Whitehead, who had the try line to himself on the left. Scored twice against Samoa in their opener. This is for a place in the World Cup final. England 6, Samoa 4. Cheleta Sar's just been booked for pulling back Salah. He didn't make the Croatian World Cup squad, so I'm sure he would be disappointed about that, bearing in mind he was in Russia 4 years ago, part of the squad that was runners-up in that competition, and he's given away that free kick on the right-hand side of the midfield, about 6, 7, maybe 8 yards in from the touchline. So Liverpool have a free kick, and Southampton's players have dropped inside their penalty area, so they're 12 yards up from the goalkeeper Bazunu, all in green. He's not going to be well protected here if this can be a good delivery from Alexander-Arnold. In fact, he leaves it. It's Robertson to take it. Flicked on by Firmino, and into the net it goes. Couldn't help but think that Southampton's defence, by dropping deep, invited pressure on themselves, and Firmino with a flick header finds the back of the net, and Liverpool lead after 6 minutes.
We actually mentioned it before the game, didn't we? The absolute certainty that player who's left out, we go and score a goal, you know, and he's left out the Brazil squad. He'll be fed up about that, and that's understating it hugely. But the first ball in there, coming from a little bit deep, and I agree with you, Ian, that was a very deep looking line from a free kick from that sort of area. Gives the goalkeeper absolutely no chance to get to it, but it had to be delivered well, and Robertson's delivery was fantastic there. They'll have a look to see if there's any possibility of offside, but there is not a chance in the world. By the way, seeing that for a second time, what a header that is! Basically behind him, brilliant.
Ivan Toney, not in the England squad, responds with 2 goals today. Firmino, not in the Brazilian squad, responds with his 9th of the season after going 8 without a goal. And in fact, Jurgen Klopp has talked about they are in discussions to negotiate a new contract with him. His current deal expires in 2023, but the 31-year-old giving Liverpool the lead, and there's been a goal at Deepdale in the Championship. Betty Glover.
We've been going on about Millwall not being able to score, but they've got off to a great start. Preston 0, Millwall 1. It's Fleming with the goal in the 4th minute, well controlled in the area. His back was actually to the goal. Nice turn, fired it into the bottom left-hand corner. It's Preston 0, Millwall 1.
Liverpool with Gomez up towards Salah. Well, Jordan Henderson, who's not playing today, neither is Konate, by the way. Konate's got a minor knock. Henderson's missing for personal reasons, we understand, but Jordan Henderson says it's been a testing period for Liverpool, but we're not going to play for 6 weeks. More important than ever to sign off with a good result, and certainly Liverpool have made an excellent start here, 1-0.
And a number of players have been lifted. I have to say, right from the start, really impressed by Gomez. He's gone into every tackle, he's won every single ball so far, but also when Salah's, first time he gets the ball, the man marking him is now booked. Party time if you're Mo Salah.
Elsewhere, Grimsby 0, Doncaster Rovers 1 is the latest score in League 2, and that Millwall goal, of course, that we've already given to you with Preston, who've won their last 3. They're behind at Deepdale. There's been a goal at West Ham now in the Premier League. Will Perry.
West Ham 0, Leicester 1, and guess who? The man who's going to Qatar, James Maddison, firing the visitors in front at the far post, smashed past Lucas Fabianski, his 23rd goal involvement in 2022. West Ham 0, Leicester 1.
Leicester, who've won 3 of their last 4 against a West Ham side who've lost 3 of their last 4. Free kick to Southampton, who trail by a goal to 0. You're listening to 5 Live. Ward-Prowse to take it, and Adams with a header. He looks to have a look at the assistant referee. The flag stays down, and Southampton are level within a matter of minutes. Great delivery by Ward-Prowse. Adams attacked it, and he's equalised with a fine header, 1-1.
Well, stunning similarity to the goal up the other end. It was 30 yards out, really wide. Now Liverpool, this time, they actually made their line right on the 18-yard line, but they dropped back massively when the ball was played in there. They dropped back, but they didn't bother to do any marking when they did that. So after a chance a little bit earlier on in the game, Che Adams, when he had a little push, we're going to have a look at it, see if there's any possibility of offside. I don't think there is. I think that's going to stand.
So 544 minutes before today, and then a goal after 9 minutes. That's 9 hours and 13 minutes of league football, where Southampton have just scored their first here at Anfield after not scoring in their last 6 league games. It's all happening. There's been a goal at Tottenham now. John Akers.
Spurs are behind first again. That's 8 games in a row. It's Spurs 0, Leeds 1. Beautiful finish from Crysencio Somerville. 4 in 4 for him. Beautiful first touch. Left foot finish under Lloris. It's 1-0 Leeds.
Crawley 1, Barrow 0, Harrogate 0, Leyton Orient 1, Swindon 0, Tranmere Rovers 1. And now I'm hearing of a goal at Carrow Road. Aaron Paul.
Norwich 1, Middlesbrough 0. Despite the visitors' dominant opening first few minutes, it is Norwich to take the lead. Josh Sargent played through on goal. He planted it past the goalkeeper. Norwich 1, Barrow 0.
Just listening to Aaron. Of course, he hosts 72 Plus, the podcast you can get on the 5 Live Football Daily feed. There's a really good chunk about Nathan Jones and the latest episode, as well as a nice interview with Burnley's Josh Cullen ahead of the East Lancashire derby in the Championship tomorrow. So if you haven't already downloaded it, 72 Plus with Aaron and regular guests who change week in, week out at times, but Phil Brown is one of the regulars. He was with Aaron in the latest episode. 1-1 here at Anfield. Oxford United lead Port Vale by a goal to 0 in League One. And let's get news of that goal of the League Two leaders, Leyton Orient, with Ellen Ellard.
Yeah, and it is the League Two leaders that lead. Harrogate 0, Leyton Orient 1. The visitors had a corner. Paul Smith was on it to guide it towards the post. It hit the post, and Pete Jameson couldn't do anything about it. And then off went Smith for some acrobatic celebrations. It's Harrogate 0, Leyton Orient 1.
Leicester City are ahead at West Ham. Leeds United are leading at Tottenham Hotspur. How's it started at the City Ground? Pat Murphy.
It's Forest 0, Palace 0, but lively. Zaha's gone close twice, and a bit of a half between Mitchell and Forrest Yates. We'll keep an eye on that one. Forest 0, Palace 0.
Ipswich Town are leading Cheltenham by a goal to 0. Ipswich have won 4 of their last 5. Second in League One as Southampton with Lavia toward Prowse, lets it come across his body, controls it right-footed, out to El Yunusi, right side of the penalty area, enters the box down by the byline, stands over the cross, Power arriving, volleys it down into the ground, and then it bounces away off the right legs of Che Adams, who've got the equaliser. They've certainly been buoyed by that equaliser, Southampton, Pat Nevin.
They have been buoyed. I was impressed with the start that Liverpool made, but not unimpressed by Southampton right from the start as well. They have put together some really good moves. There's a real confidence about the group as well. Sometimes that happens when a new manager walks in. There's a real belief about him. It's classic. He said to him, go out and play. I'm putting you as a back 5, but I don't expect you wing backs to stay there. They've got forward constantly in this game so far.
Talking of new managers, Liam Rosenior hasn't been too long in the job at Hull City. Indeed, it's his first home game today, and they're leading Reading by a goal to 0 in the Championship. Hull City 1, Reading 0. Let's get an update from that Rugby League World Cup semi-final. Katie Smith.
England behind again. England 6, Samoa 10. Liggy Sal, Hull FC player, a familiar name to Super League fans, far over on the left. Momentum carrying him from 5 metres out on the grass over the line. Goal is good too. By far England's toughest test of the tournament so far. England 6, Samoa 10.
This is now Southampton with a forward ball. It's Adam Armstrong just making a shuffling, darting run into the inside right channel of the penalty area, and it kicks on through, collected by Allison, a clean-shaven Allison.
Yeah, I didn't recognise him there at all. Interestingly, setting up just as a 5-3-2 a lot of the time for Southampton just now, and it's making it very difficult for the centre-backs of Liverpool, because sometimes it's Adam Armstrong, sometimes it's Che Adams who's going on the centre-backs. They're really having a bit of a problem now at Liverpool.
It's the familiar voice of Pat Nevin here at Anfield. Liverpool 1, Southampton 1. We welcome listeners to the World Service wherever you are in the world. Always a pleasure to have your company here along with 5 Live at Anfield, as Robertson linking up with Nunez, back to Nunez, and then Kocha just gets there first, and in fact the free kick goes against the Uruguayan. Bournemouth against Everton then, Jonathan Overend.
0-0, we've played for 13 minutes, sharp start from Everton, Mopé snapshot just over the bar, Patson's cross then narrowly avoided the former Brighton man, before at the other end Tavernier hit straight at Pickford cutting in from the right. Bournemouth 0, Everton 0.
Shrewsbury 0, Barnsley 1's the latest in League One. Let's go back to West Ham, Will Perry.
Well, West Ham 0, Leicester 1, but Kurt Zouma, I heard, picked up a bit of an injury in the pre-match warm-up, and he's now coming off, he's limping off, struggling in these first 10 minutes at the London Stadium, replaced by Nave Gerd. So West Ham a goal down, they've just lost their centre-back.
Adams used his strength to hold off Gomez. The ball goes back into the vicinity of Adams in the penalty area, and Liverpool get the ball away. And that was a clearance by Alexander-Arnold that was charged down by Shea Adams, and it cannons away off the legs of the Scottish international and out for a throw.
Adams has caused him a lot of problems, isn't he? Not just the goal, but he's closing them down. You know, when the balls have been played up, he's not the tallest. I mean, he's nowhere near as tall as the two players that are trying to mark him, but he's winning lots and lots of ball, and he's making it difficult for them to clear. And at the moment, that is the most intriguing part of the game. The two centre forwards for Southampton up against the two centre backs for Liverpool.
Nunez is sent away on the left hand side. Early cross into the penalty area. Great save by the Southampton goalkeeper Bazunu. Comes out towards Alexander-Arnold. It was Salah arriving, just spread himself low with a sprawling save from point blank. Now the break's on for Southampton. Ward-Prowse ahead of him. Adam Armstrong won't get there first. Toe-ended away by Van Dijk, a former Southampton player of course, and kept in play by Robertson. And now it's with Nunez. Frenetic pace from one end to the other, and then back once again. Our eyes are trained towards the left-hand side.
I tell you what, this could turn out to be a classic. You know, we've got 2 goals already. We've had a bunch of chances already, and it's very, very end-to-end. I love the way this game has started just now. If we can keep on going at this pace, which will be difficult, because we have a cracker of a game in our hands.
But Southampton aren't here parking the bus in any stretch of the imagination.
No, absolutely not. Like you said, it is a 5 at the back, but the wing backs are going. There's 2 up. It's like a 5-3-2. So, you know, but that can be played in a negative way. They are definitely not doing that at the moment. To take nothing away from Liverpool, they're creating chances and spaces. It really doesn't feel like this game's finished with scoring. It feels like a long way from that.
Alexander-Arnold looking for the ball over the top. Salah is there, and then eventually Gavin Bazunu, the Irish international, comes to the edge of his area and gathers the ball safely in his arms. Into the Championship we go, and news of a goal at Coventry, Chris Coles.
Victor Gyökeres has scored to give informed Coventry the lead over Queen's Park Rangers. Great work, Callum O'Hare pulled it back, and Gyökeres smashed it in off the crossbar. Coventry 1, QPR 0.
Certainly are in form as well. They've won their last 3. Bristol Rovers 0, Fleetwood 1 is the latest score in League One. Firmino to Fabinho, goes square outside the centre circle of the Liverpool half, playing from right to left. Robertson goes further left, and then Salisu must have got the shout because the Ghanaian international just ducked underneath the ball, and it travelled through to the Saints goalkeeper, and Chaleta Sarr then gets it short, and back it goes, and then they switch it out towards Perrault, the left wing back for Southampton. Another goal at Deepdale. Betty Glover.
Millwall have just gone 2-0 up. Fleming has just got his second of the day. It was from a free kick on the edge of the area. He smashed it into the back of the net to make it Preston 0, Millwall 2.
Salah into Nunez. Nunez just held off enough by Kochap inside in the penalty area.
I think that's a brilliant touch by Kochap. I think it's an amazing touch. He is second favourite by a mile when that ball comes through. Well ahead of him. Nunez, he doesn't expect him to come back in there. He does. He gets a long leg. That is a fantastic touch. Back to his keeper. Obviously not passed by. Great defending.
So 1-1 here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Firmino with a layoff. Elliott, Fabinho hits it early. Again, that early ball over the top that Salah is in pursuit of. Chaleta Sarr will volley it away. It's no longer goalless on the south coast. Straight to Bournemouth, Jonathan Overend.
Bournemouth 1, Everton 0, and Marcus Tavernier has scored it. Solanke has shot from the edge of the box. It's fumbled by Pickford, and the simplest of jobs for Tavernier to put it in from close range. Get the error out of the way, Jordan. There we go. Bournemouth 1, Everton 0.
Gary O'Neill could be going out on a high note there after 4 straight defeats in the Premier League, if it indeed is his final game in charge. They of course beat Everton in the League Cup in midweek. 1 win in 7 for Everton in all competitions for Pat's former side. And another side that lost in the League Cup in midweek was Tottenham. They're behind to Leeds United. How have they responded? John Akers.
They just missed a sitter, 19 minutes gone. Spurs 0, Leeds 1. Cross from the left from Ben Davies, beautiful, on a plate. Emerson Royal, 12 yards, right foot, unmarked, over the bar. Tottenham 0, Leeds 1.
Forest Green 0, Wycombe 1 is the latest score in League One. Certainly the Southampton response was extremely speedy. It's been timed at 3 minutes and 8 seconds when they were behind after Firmino's opening goal for Liverpool. 1-1. We're in the 20th minute. Liverpool go back to Van Dijk. We'll go back to Katie Smith watching England-Samoa.
Yeah, half-time, England trailing 6 points to 10. Uncharted waters then for the host. Sean Wayne warned this would be totally different to the battering they gave Samoa in their group opener. They got ahead early. England unable to take advantage of Paolo's yellow card as well. So a big 40 minutes to come. This for a place in the World Cup final next Saturday. England trailing 6 points to 10.
England's women in the Rugby Union World Cup final this morning on 5 Live, narrowly beaten to New Zealand 34-31. The T20 World Cup final tomorrow is on Sports Extra from 7:30. England against Pakistan, and as Katie says, next weekend it's the Rugby League World Cup final. And then of course we turn our attentions to the next World Cup, which starts on the 20th of November, a week on Sunday. All 64 games live on 5 Live and Sports Extra. Nunez will be there with Uruguay. He's just hoisted a long diagonal ball out towards Firmino. Firmino coming forward now to Elliott. Elliott shoots from the edge of the area, strikes Salah with his back to goal, and then he's lost the ball inside that penalty area, cleared away only as far as Robertson, dinks it back in, comes off the head of Kotchap, out towards Firmino, breaks towards Elliott 25 yards out, scoops a lovely ball in, Nunez with a finish, and Nunez guides it left-footed, and Liverpool are back in front, but that was a beautiful ball by Elliott, perfectly weighted, and finished off by Nunez, 2-1.
Well, fantastic for Nunez, getting into the right position, didn't panic when he got there. But let's be fair, it's about the ball into him, isn't it? Elliott just gets his head up. He's only got a half a yard to look at it there. It didn't actually look to be a great ball on. However, you've got to say that's De Bruyne-esque. I mean, if Kevin De Bruyne does that, you go, wow, how many players can do that at that level? Elliott's definitely got that. Beautiful ball. He's not had a great involvement in the game so far, but when it came to him there, he knew exactly what he was doing. It had to be inch perfect, and boy, he was inch perfect with that left foot there. Beautiful ball and never offside. And by the way, Nunez knows he's got it in him, so he makes the move knowing that he can do that.
You're right though, Pat. It was a delightful ball by Harvey Elliott, and Nunez with the finish, and it was an easy finish just with an outstretched left foot, and Liverpool are back in front by 2-1. Preston have got a goal back. Preston 1, Millwall 2. But we're going to get an update from Nottingham Forest and Pat Murphy.
It's still 0-0 here against Palace. Nearest chance was for Forest. Johnson, great run round the right, low cross, evaded Guaita, the Palace keeper. Lingard just couldn't get to the ball, ended up in the net. Forest 0, Palace 0.
Only his third goal of his 8 since he's arrived from Benfica here at Anfield, but Liverpool are looking to try and break again now, and it's Thiago who sent Salah away. Nunez is going through the middle. Ward-Prowse running back, tidies up for Southampton, and then clears on the edge of his penalty area, taken high on the chest by Stuart Armstrong, gets away from the challenge of Fabinho, lays it out now to his namesake Adam Armstrong, and now with Lavia in the midfield for Southampton. Forward ball. Stuart Armstrong stayed out wide, and his cross is cut out by Joe Gomez up towards Firmino. Liverpool leading by 2-1, and Salah inside now to Thiago. Nunez just moved fractionally to his right. It went out the other way past his outstretched left foot, and Southampton are able to tidy up. Let's get news of that goal then at Deepdale with Betty Glover.
Yeah, Preston have managed to pull one back. Preston 1, Millwall 2. Captain Alan Brown bundled it into the back of the net. It looked like it touched absolutely everyone, but he finally got it over the line. Preston do look like they're getting back into this. It's Preston 1, Millwall 2.
Now Blackpool are down to 10 men, currently drawing 0-0 away at Wigan, but they have reduced to 10 men, and I'm hearing of a significant change at West Ham. I hope Gareth Southgate's not listening. Will Perry.
West Ham 0, Leicester 1, but this is not good news for James Maddison, who scored the goal today and is hobbling off. He's holding his right knee, didn't even see how it happened, seemed very innocuous, but Declan Rice over to console him. James Maddison looking to the floor as he hobbles down the tunnel at the London Stadium with 8 days until that first game at the World Cup. Leicester 1-0 up at the London Stadium.
What a worry, Pat.
Yeah, I can remember similar thing happened to me before the Euros. You know, you've not got that much time to recover. In that moment, everything flashes through your mind that you've worked so hard for it, you could lose out on it. In times gone by, you usually had 3 or 4 weeks to get better. You've only got 8 days now.
Here is Firmino picking up the ball for Liverpool. We hope that James Maddison, it is nothing too serious. The thing is about previous tournaments is that you might have had 2 or 3 weeks to try and recover. There's very, very little time with the nature of this intense schedule to try and recover from any sort of a knock. A goal at Bournemouth, Jonathan Overend.
Yes, the ball's in the net, and Bournemouth, as things stand, lead Everton by 2-0, but it was a nasty clash of heads, I think involving Connor Cody. So this could be another interesting one. The shot came in, well saved by Pickford. Back into the box. Kiefer Moore has got his head to the ball, and into the net it goes. No, Cody's okay. It looks like it's Mikalenko who's in more trouble back there. I'll keep you in touch. 2-0 Bournemouth.
So 2-0 to Bournemouth. Kiefer Moore, of course, part of the Wales squad, and as well as England. Wales, of course, will have all the commentaries on BBC Radio 5 Live, and indeed, on Tuesday night, there is a Wales World Cup preview show on BBC Radio 5 Live. It was Leeds United who are leading at Tottenham, but there's been a goal in North London. John Akers.
You can keep that up, Harry Kane. 1-1, lovely finish. Touch from a corner. Leeds thought there was a push on Tyler Adams. He shook him off. One touch, 7 yards, roundhouse volley into the top corner. Goal stands. Spurs 1, Leeds 1.
Another goal in our featured League 2 game in North Yorkshire. Ellen Ellard.
Yeah, Harrogate 0, Leyton Orient 2. The league leaders double through a penalty. Darren Pratley injected some pace, found Smith in the box. Jameson came out and wiped out the scorer of the first goal. George Moncur put the ball on the spot and slotted it past the keeper. Harrogate 0, Leyton Orient 2.
27 minutes played. Liverpool lead here by 2-1. You're listening to 5 Live and the World Service from the BBC. So yeah, that Wales World Cup preview show on Tuesday. There's an England World Cup preview show on Wednesday. And the BBC Sport website says Mark Chapman and Kelly Cates are hosting the ultimate preview World Cup show on Thursday for Qatar 2022. So I'm not too sure how Friday and Saturday's programmes are able to beat that. No, if Thursday night's the ultimate one.
That will be the ultimate. I know.
Are you on it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why it's ultimate then.
I don't believe that for a second.
The erudite Pat Nevin. That's what makes it ultimate.
Just moving along swiftly. Liverpool have actually changed it. We're talking about the ability to change their systems when Jurgen Klopp is in the stands instead of on the bench there. They've actually started going to a front three, back to almost a 4-3-3, which is working well against a back three because they're finding themselves 3-on-3 quite a few times. If they keep on doing that, they will score again.
That's Pat Nevin. This is Jonathan Overend.
Yeah, so it's 2-0 to Bournemouth here. It was Tarkowski who went down first of all, a flicked header. So that was in the lead up to the goal. He went down holding his head. Everton are complaining that the play should have been stopped. Then the ball came back in, and Mikalenko then got a head injury as Kiefer Moore headed it over the line. Both do appear to be okay. I think Mikalenko is going to have to be subbed though. Tarkowski's okay, but Everton complaining that the play should have been stopped because it was a head injury. Bournemouth 2, Everton 0.
So with what Pat was saying before, we've got Van Dijk as the left of the three, Gomez is central, Alexander-Arnold has gone to the right of the three, and Harvey Elliott is essentially playing now as a right wing back.
Yeah, as a wing back, yeah. It's quite adaptable the way they're doing it just now. They've changed that a couple of times, but looking up front, I think Firmino seems to be core of it because Firmino's getting central, Núñez is going left, Salah's going right, and they're ending up against the back three of the opposition. So if you've got 3-on-3 and 3 attackers for Liverpool against 3 Southampton defenders, eventually Liverpool will get chances.
Oxford United 2, Port Vale 0, and if Chris Waddle is listening to 5 Live on his way to St James's Park, Sheffield Wednesday are leading by 1-0 as Southampton are on the attack. Ball played over towards Perrault. Stuart Armstrong turns, drops outside the penalty area, just sells Ward-Prowse a little short. Thiago's able to nip in. Yep, so Accrington 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Liverpool now are breaking, and it's Elliott running forward. He's got Salah to his right. He finds Salah in the penalty area to Nunez, drags it back to Firmino. Another good save, and at the second attempt he grabs it back in along the ground before Firmino could get there at the second attempt. But a lovely sweeping move from Liverpool.
Yeah, and as I was saying before, if you go 3v3 at the back, they will get chances. Now that's 30 seconds ago. They got the chances specifically because of that. So Southampton are going to have to look at that. It's Firmino's cleverness now. He knows where to go. He knows where the spaces are. He goes between the centre backs and the midfield, and no one's picking him up in that sort of break. He's like an octopus. His tentacles are all over this game.
We've been playing for nearly half an hour, and Liverpool are leading by 2-1. We'll check back in on England-Samoa in that Rugby League World Cup semi-final. Katie Smith. Unable to get to Katie at this stage. The winners play Australia next week. What about England, Japan and the Rugby Union? Chris Jones.
Well, England needed a good start after defeat last weekend, and they've made a good start. Farrell to Smith, nice ball to Freddie Stewart, who's gone in for the game's first try, well converted over Farrell, who also kicked a penalty earlier on. England 10, Japan 0 after 16 minutes.
Swindon 1, Tranmere Rovers 1. Exeter lead Peterborough United by a goal to 0. It's Burton 0, Charlton 1. Preston were 2-0 down, however now Betty Glover.
Oh, what a game this is. Ched Evans has drawn it level. Preston 2, Millwall 2. Last week he was 30 games without a goal until Preston's game against Reading. Now he scored another. He got his head onto the end of a deep cross and buried it into the back of the net. Bullet of a header. It's Preston 2, Millwall 2.
5 Live and the World Service. 14 minutes to go to half-time. Alexander-Arnold with the cross on the right-hand side, strikes the head of Nunez. Firmino with his back to goal, twisting and turning, looking for a side of goal, has support from Robertson, plays it in low. Here is Salah, 12 yards out. Salah's turn, takes an deflection off Perrault and into the safely the arms of the Southampton goalkeeper, Kevin Bazuna.
There'll be 3 brilliant chances that Liverpool haven't been able to take in this half. Now, 2 of them have actually fallen to Mo Salah. They've got that one on target, but didn't get enough power. But the chances they are making just now, they could actually put this game out of sight. If they get another one, they can almost take their foot off the gas for the rest of the game, you think. But at the moment, Southampton are just hanging on, but they are not creating as much at the moment.
Gillingham 0, Northampton 1, Forest Green 0, Wickham 2. You're up to date with the goals as they go in on BBC Radio 5 Live, as the winter sunshine, rather weak, just blinding those on the top tier of the Anfield Road end, with the construction work really taking shape above them. As that red and white crane certainly dominates the skyline as you drive up towards Anfield on what I actually felt was a rather mild day on Merseyside until we came to our commentary position here. But as the wind rolls in on the roof of the Kop from the Mersey, as Liverpool are attacking, Nunez just can't get there. Salisu gets there first. It feels anything but mild.
It does, but it's still really nice. The players will be feeling nothing there just now, because it's a really nice day to play football just now, and I think these fans, they're not actually feeling that just now, because it's been a really good display and Liverpool are beginning to take complete control of this game.
Here is Elliott to Salah, quickly ships it down the right hand side towards Firmino, chips over the cross, headed away by Ward-Prowse. Lovely control by Elliott off the chest, nice little deft touch towards Gomez. Every outfield player is in the Southampton half. Southampton are chasing this game at the minute. It's all Liverpool. 33 minutes played, nice little layoff by Salah. Southampton get the ball away, but Liverpool quickly win it back. Fabinho, they're still threatening, 25 yards out, flat ball in by Alexander-Arnold. Southampton really are on the back foot. St Johnstone 1, Motherwell 0 will stay in Scotland and get news of Celtic Ross County with Conor McLaughlin.
It's Celtic 0, Ross County 0. Huge chance though for Celtic. They pressed County into a bit of a mistake in the middle of the park. Matt O'Reilly was there, he sprung Kyogo, but the Japan forwards just drifted inches wide of the goal. So it's Celtic 0, Ross County 0.
Liverpool take a quick free kick, and then Firmino comes very, very deep to come and collect it off Thiago. Featured game in League One's at Sincil Bank, and there's been a goal involving the leaders Plymouth. Shojo Saka.
Lincoln 0, Plymouth 1. It's Adam Randall from 25 yards out, a low grass-cutting ripper. He scored last week in the Cup, he scored this week. Lincoln 0, Plymouth 1.
You're listening to 5 Live. We've got just over 10 minutes to go to half-time. Here is Van Dijk, and Van Dijk to Elliott. now with Thiago dropping very, very deep. Firmino is over the halfway line. He touches the ball to Elliott, out towards Robertson. Very slick, the passing from Liverpool, isn't it?
Yeah, very noticeable. Elliott's gone a little bit more central now. I mean, eventually that is where he will play. But when he goes in there, he looks utterly at home. He can control games in there. He's a lovely player to watch.
Nunez popping up on the right-hand side with the cross, headed out inside his own penalty area by Ward-Prowse. And leaping Thiago into the path of Elliott, who, as Pat says, has stayed in the central area. There's a real fluid feel about the way that Liverpool are playing now, as Gomez out towards Nunez now on the right. Salah's gone central, Firmino on the left. Ball goes into the penalty area. Firmino had made the run out to Alexander-Arnold, hits it first time, slices it off target, goal kick. And it remains Liverpool 2, Southampton 1. So the only goalless game in the Premier League is at the City Ground. Pat Murphy.
It still is, but more controversy. Forest last week thought they should have had 3 penalties at home to Brentford. They thought she had another one now when Lingard was brought down by Mitchell outside the penalty area. Was it denial of a goal-scoring opportunity? Was it a red card for Mitchell, therefore? Referee John Brooks said no. The free kick was wasted. It remains Forest 0, Palace 0, but the Forest fans aren't happy.
Thank you, Pat. You'll be able to see for yourself tonight, match of the day. It's on at a slightly later time at 11 o'clock on BBC One tonight. We've got Newcastle United Chelsea to follow. Sports Report with John Murray and Chris Waddle. Commentary of that from St James's Park, which will be should be a really good game of football. Liverpool here are leading 2-1, and it's with Thiago. And they're looking in a good position at the moment, the home team, Pat Nevin.
They are now, and to me, Alexander-Arnold, had his critics, understandably so, but he has had a really good game today. He looks like he's up for it, and he's doing that thing where he's starting to right back, but he's finding himself, the way Man City ask their fullbacks to go in, they play an inside forward role sometimes, and they're impossible to mark. Very, very impressive so far, Alexander-Arnold as well.
Liverpool go out towards the right-hand side with Elliott. Got a bit of space to run into here. He delivers the cross, and it's a cross-come shot that drops onto the roof of the net and safely behind and out for a goal kick. So still Southampton trailing. West Ham, Leicester City, Will Perry.
West Ham 0, Leicester 1. West Ham thought they were level. Soucek smashing in a Bowen cross from the left-hand side, but Bowen offside in the build-up. West Ham 0, Leicester 1.
5 Live boxing tonight. Natasha Jones being covered on 5 Live from 10 o'clock. Tomorrow, 5 Live's Premier League Sunday from midday. Brighton, Aston Villa at 2. Fulham, Manchester United at 4:30.
We're talking a lot just now about Liverpool, because they are playing well. They're purring for the last 15 or 20 minutes or so. Somehow, if Southampton are going to get back into it, they need to get those two strikers on the ball, get the ball up to them. Problem is, if you ain't got the ball in the first place, you can't get it up to them. And as I speak, yet another head injury. We've had a lot of them today.
Yeah, and it's Elliott who's gone down. Simon Hooper, the referee, has stopped play and just checking on the welfare of the young Liverpool lad, who's actually had an impressive season, hasn't he?
Yeah,
all round so far.
You sometimes watch young players come through and you watch them 2 or 3 games and you think he's got a chance. I didn't actually think that of Harvey Elliott. I didn't think he's got a chance, but he's an absolute stick-on. He's a certainty to be a top player at this club, and his future is absolutely certain, and he could be core to the future of certainly any success that Liverpool have.
Elliott's back to his feet. Cheltenham have equalised at Portman Road. So Hull 1, Reading 1, Ipswich 1, Cheltenham 1, and Morecambe leading Portsmouth by a 1-0 also in League 1. Chaletta Sarr's forward ball all the way through to Allison. We'll go back to North London and John Akers.
Spurs 1, Leeds 1, 8 minutes to half-time. Harry Kane down injured after a thumping challenge. Get up, Harry. He's up, thank goodness. It's nerve-wracking this, isn't it, before the World Cup? Spurs have just missed a one-on-one with Kulusevski. It's Spurs 1, Leeds 1.
And it's not just Gareth Southgate, although to be fair to him on Thursday, he said he'd be quite relaxed this weekend. We'll wait and see how relaxed he will be when he hope the players all come through unscathed. But it's not just Gareth Southgate in that position, it's Rob Page too. And Kiefer Moore, I'm hearing, is down. Jonathan Owen.
Just thinking that, I think we as fans are possibly a little bit more nervous watching all these players. And Kiefer Moore's been down, bit of a knee problem. Good news is he's back up on his feet, and the better news is it needed the magic spray. So that tells me it's not a muscle problem. Back on his feet, about to come on. But yeah, Rob Page will be watching that one closely. Key man, Bournemouth leading 2-0 against Everton.
At least you never said it was a foot injury, because he broke his foot on his debut, didn't he, for Bournemouth last year in the Championship. Blackpool, who are down to 10 men, are leading at Wigan. Wigan, who sacked Liam Richardson in midweek. Rob Kelly is their caretaker manager. Wigan 0, Blackpool 1, Burton 0, Charlton 2. As the ball is hit over the top, Liverpool lead 2-1. Nunez, with his back to goal, hooks it into the path of Salah on the edge of the area, falling away slightly, couldn't control it. Salisu gets the ball away for Southampton, who, as you called a number of minutes ago, Pat Nevin, haven't been able to pose the same level of threat as they did in the early stages.
Yeah, I mean,
of the game.
part of it is the quality of the ball that's going up to the strikers, but then part of it is they just haven't got enough of the ball. Liverpool have squeezed it in the midfield, they've controlled it, they've passed it well, but they haven't done it slowly, and it tires you out when you're spending a lot of time chasing the ball. I think players have come to this stadium for many decades understand what it feels like.
Here is Ward-Prowse along the ground out to El Yunusi. El Yunusi forward with a cross from the right hand side. Adam Armstrong attacks it 8 yards out, and it just seemed to brush off his forehead and never really altered the path of the ball. It continued in a diagonal path and out for a goal kick.
Do you know what? That's a better chance than you think. If you imagine, you put Shea Adams there attacking that ball with his head, or you know, the likes of Firmino, who didn't have anywhere near as good a chance as that when he actually scored with his. So for a striker, that's actually a good chance. He should get that on target.
He's struggled for goals. He was brought in to replace Danny Ings, Adam Armstrong. He's only scored 3 in his 43 appearances since that £15 million move from Blackburn Rovers.
It's the difference though, when you come to this level, you get limited amount of chances. That was one of them. It's a bit more than a half chance, but you should be getting on target.
A penalty at Nottingham Forest. Pat Murphy.
To Crystal Palace, Wilf Zaha to take it. Pulled back by Worrell a couple of minutes ago, waiting for the VAR. Henderson, his chance to be a hero for Forest. Here's Zaha, right-footed, and he's missed it. It's gone past Henderson's right post. He scuffed it. You don't associate a penalty like that with someone of Wilf Zaha's class. It's Forest 0, Palace 0.
And that's the only goalless game in the top flight. The result in the early kick-off was Manchester City 1, Brentford 2. We've now got another penalty. This time it's at West Ham. Will Perry.
Penalty, Leicester. West Ham 0, Leicester 1. Here's Yuri Tielemans who's going to take it. It was Jared Gillett who went to the screen after the tackle from Dawson on Daka. Clear penalty for me. Here is Tielemans. In front of those West Ham fans, stuttered run up. Tielemans saved by Fabianski. Out for a corner. West Ham 0, Leicester 1.
And here Liverpool have increased their lead. Robertson's low cross from the left, sliding in Nunez. 3 minutes before half-time, it's Liverpool 3, Southampton 1.
If you close your eyes and think of a classic Liverpool goal from Robertson, that's it. You know, gets down the line, a lovely through ball between the centre-backs and the wing-back. He doesn't take a touch, he just whips it in there to the danger area. Nunez has learned, if you go into that area, you will get opportunities, and flies in there and puts away his second goal. He's going to have a look at it, see if there was any possibility of offside. Looked like a great ball in, it's just whether we went too early. Nunez.
VAR will be having a look, and VAR has confirmed it. Robertson was onside. The goal stands. Nunez with the second. Liverpool lead 3-1. Updating the Rugby League World Cup semi-final, Katie Smith.
Yeah, well, skipper Sam Tompkins said the first half their worst 40 minutes of the tournament so far. They are back in this though. England 12, Samoa 10. Williams popping up a kit taken by Lafay. It flies free. John Bateman pouncing on it. He scored an England semi-final win in 2017. He's done it again here. England lead by 2.
Burton 1, Charlton 2, Exeter 1, Peterborough 1, West Bromwich Albion leads Stoke City by a goal to 0 in the Championship. Bradford are leading at Sutton through the prolific Andy Cook. And we will go next to Tottenham. John Akers.
Leeds are back in front. Spurs 1, Leeds 2. 2 minutes before half-time. Flicked header on, and there's Rodrigo. It's 4-4 for him now with a volley beautifully taken near the penalty spot. Lloris got something on it, but it bounced up and into the corner. It's Spurs 1, Leeds 2.
Well, Leeds United ended Liverpool's 29-match unbeaten run here in the Premier League at home. Had that dramatic win. And Tottenham not in good form at the moment, as Liverpool are certainly looking to go into what will be a 6-week break with a valuable 3 points to try and make up for the points that they've dropped. 22 points that they've dropped so far this season. Sorry, 20 points they've dropped this season. They dropped 22 throughout the whole of last season. Manchester City dropped 21 points in all of last season. They've dropped 10 so far. And of course, that includes that surprise defeat against Brentford at the Etihad today. 16 successive home wins, that run coming to an end after Brentford's 2-1 win. Latest scores in the Premier League: Bournemouth 2, Everton 0, Nottingham Forest 0, Crystal Palace 0, Crystal Palace missing a penalty. Tottenham 1, Leeds United 2, and Leicester City having their penalty squandered too, still only 1-0 up against West Ham United. James Maddison has left the field of play with what looks like a knee injury. England, Japan in the Rugby Union, Chris Jones.
And England have a second try. Marcus Smith going over in the corner after good work from Jack Van Porfrid and Joe Cokanasiga. Farrell converting beautifully. England feeling much better about life this week. England 17, Japan 0, 12 to go to half-time.
Ball played forward, up towards Stuart Armstrong, headed away by Gomez, comes to Adam Armstrong, couldn't connect it. Adams wins it back. Referee's blown his whistle. Adams has put it wide anyway. He'll be relieved that the referee blew his whistle because he pulled it horribly wide.
He did, with nobody in front of him except the goalkeeper there. It's difficult to see where the free kick was, but there's no complaints from any Southampton players, so there must have been a tug of the shirt there. But what a relief for Liverpool to get that third goal, and that's a big thing for them, because there have been times when they've come out in the second half and not been the same team. In this occasion, actually I've just watched a little replay and I think the referee got that one spot on, but Nunes on a hat-trick now. Liverpool almost cruising.
3-1 they lead. This is Thiago inside the centre circle. Katie Smith, England Samoa.
Yeah, that lead did not last long for those. England 12, Samoa 16. This match is brilliant. Samoa just won't go away. What a try. Waves of attack. Ball off the post. Finally finds the steady hands of grand final winner Stephen Crichton, who puts it down, kicks the goal as well. 4-point advantage. This is Samoa's first ever World Cup semi-final.
Here is Thiago playing for the right to meet Australia next week. Robertson with a high cross from the left-hand side, drops out of play for a goal kick.
They just want to get half-time now, don't they, Southampton? They can't get out of their own half. They can't hold the ball in the opposition half. And Liverpool, you see the difference in them when they get that 2-goal lead. They're not doing tricks and flicks, but they're complete comfort and confidence in their play. And as you mentioned a bit earlier on, it's like total football. Players that, the right wing back will turn out a left back. Everyone will play every position and they all understand their jobs.
They look more like themselves, don't they?
They do, absolutely.
And they're leading by 3-1. MK Dons, who've lost their last 5 home games in League One, have taken the lead against Derby County. MK Dons 1, Derby County 0 is the latest score. We're into 2 minutes of added on time here at Anfield, as Van Dijk passes the ball out towards Alexander-Arnold, and it's a nice, steady, sedate walking pace from Liverpool, keeping the ball at the back as referee Simon Hooper blows his whistle. Half-time, Liverpool 3, Southampton 1. Will go to Lincoln, Shojo Saka.
Lincoln 1, Plymouth 1. It's the home side who have drawn level. A thundering shot from Max Sanders. This place is bouncing. Lincoln 1, Plymouth 1.
Liverpool took the lead, a Firmino header after 6 minutes. 3 minutes and 8 seconds later, Adams equalised with his header, but then 2 goals from Nunez, Pat, has put Liverpool in control.
At 1-1, I said this doesn't look like a game that's going to finish at 1-1. There was no chance that Liverpool could have been 4 or 5, and at the moment, massive changes need for Southampton if they have any chance of getting near in this game again.
Derby have just equalised. MK Dons 1, Derby 1. You're up to date. Half-time at Anfield. Liverpool 3, Southampton 1.
Thank you to the ultimate commentary team. Ian Dennis and Pat Nevin will be back at Anfield for second half commentary. It's half-time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Leeds could get to the World Cup with 3 wins in a row. John Akers.
Ridiculous game of football. Tottenham 1, Leeds 2, Somerville 4 in 4 with the first. It's a beautiful finish. Great first touch. Second, third and left finish under Lloris. Harry Kane equalised with another nice finish. They wanted a foul in the build-up, Leeds. A right foot roundhouse volley. Then Rodrigo made it 2-1 with, again, a really nice goal, a volley Tottenham 1, Leeds 2.
Well, we haven't heard that much from Pat Murphy in the first half at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest, Crystal Palace.
Only because there's been no goals, but two key talking points. Lingard brought down by Mitchell just outside the Palace penalty area. Referee John Brooks ruled that he wasn't the only covering defender and he only booked him. Forest fans with recent grievances about penalties awarded not impressed. At the other end, a penalty to Palace. Worrell brought down Zaha. No real argument about that. After a long delay, Zaha scuffed the penalty past the post. Remarkably, only 1 minute added on for those two incidents when I reckon it should have been about 6 minutes. Again, Forest fans couldn't believe that. Forest 0, Palace 0.
Still playing in the first half at the London Stadium, Will Perry.
West Ham 0, Leicester 1. About 10 seconds to go here in this first half as Leicester break forward now with Harvey Barnes on the counter-attack, but it goes through to Lucas Fabianski. Remember, James Maddison put the visitors in front here in the 8th minute. There is the half-time whistle, hobbled off 17 minutes later, clutching his right knee, replaced by Pratt. The ball squared to Maddison by Daka 10 yards out. He's smashed into the roof of the net for his 7th of the season, and then he seemed to tweak that knee, which will be a concern for Gareth Southgate, so close to the World Cup, having made the England squad for the first time since 2019. Fabianski saved the Tielemans penalty after Dawson cleaned out Daka. Jared Gillett going to the screen to award that one. Souček had an equaliser ruled out for offside. Ben Rama and Paquetá have come really close for the hosts, who've seen the injured Zuma replaced by Agard. West Ham 0, Leicester 1 at the break.
And we're still playing at the Vitality. Bournemouth Everton, Jonathan Overend.
Yeah, we have got 6 minutes of stoppage time here, and we're going to have a couple more as well because a head injury to Marcus Tavernier here. What is it today about head injuries?
Yeah.
We've had 3 here at the Vitality today. Mikolenko's been subbed. 2-0 Bournemouth, by the way, but we're still playing. Tavernier and Moore with the Bournemouth goals. Really bad error from Jordan Pickford for the first goal for Bournemouth today. Then a bit of controversy around the second. Looks like Tavernier's going to be okay, but he's a bit groggy as he walks off the pitch here. Still playing. Bournemouth 2, Everton 0.
It's the third game in a row that Bournemouth have had a 2-goal lead. They lost the other 2, and their fans won't need us to remind us of that. Let's go into the Championship to the Cardiff City Stadium. Laura Kenyon.
Cardiff 0, Sheffield United 0. The home side coming closest just before half-time. Tom Sang almost converting from a defensive mistake. In all, though, a quiet first half for both keepers. The real worry for Sheffield United, that growing injury list. Jack Robinson hobbling off within the first 15. The World Cup break possibly coming at a good time for the promotion chasers. As things stand, 0-0.
Norwich could pull within a point of Sheffield United this afternoon. It's half-time at Carrow Road. Aaron Paul.
Norwich 1, Middlesbrough 0. Josh Sargent's 9th goal of the season separates these two sides after a tame first half. Chuba Akpom headed Borough's best chance over the bar. Then Tomo Pukki's drilled effort was well saved by Zach Steffen, whilst Gabriel Sara fired wide. But Sargent found the back of the net, driving a shot across the goalkeeper and into the corner. It's been a pretty bland affair otherwise. Norwich ahead here at the break. They lead Middlesbrough by a goal to 0.
Sargent, who was selected for the USA at the World Cup, scoring against the man who controversially wasn't in Zach Steffen. It's harsh time at Ashton Gate. Bristol City, Watford. Hamish Marshall.
Goalless here, quiet sums up the first half. Watford haven't had a single shot. The best of City's 3 half chances was a Tommy Conway header which went over. They were also angry to be denied a penalty for a high foot on Naki Wells.
Preston had scored the least and conceded the least before kick-off, so obviously, Betty Glover, it's 2-2.
Yeah, well, obviously, I was saying to Steve, to people in the press room before kick-off, that I thought it was going to be a 0-0 draw. How wrong was I? Millwall had a dream start, opening the scoring within 4 minutes through Fleming. He then doubled their lead from a free kick to make it 2-0. This is a side, by the way, like you say, who haven't been able to score in 3 games. Preston said, hold my drink, scored 2 in 10 minutes to take it level. The first one went down as a George Long own goal. It was a massive goal-mouth scramble. The second, thanks to Ched Evans, who got his head onto the end of a deep cross bullet of a header. His 3rd goal in 2 matches after not scoring for nearly a year. And Steve, I feel for the Millwall fan that tweeted saying that he went to take a phone call when they were 2-0 up, came back and it was 2-2. Preston Millwall level at the break.
I don't feel for them. Never take a phone call in the middle of a football match. What are you thinking?
True.
Coventry City could be on the way to 4 straight wins. Chris Coles.
Yeah, they could, Steve. They are playing like a team in form. QPR playing like a team out of form, so no surprise at the half-time score. Coventry 1, QPR 0. Perhaps perhaps the biggest indicator of Coventry's ease, the Olays breaking out on half an hour as the home side kept easy possession. The scoreline not as comfortable as Coventry's domination, just the one goal. Victor Gyökeres smashing in his 8th of the season from close range. QPR have been sluggish and uncreative, yet to get an effort on target. Rob Dickey heading a free kick over the bar, their best moment. Coventry 1, QPR 0.
I suspect there won't be any Olays just yet at the Vitality Stadium, but it is half-time, Jonathan.
No, absolutely. 2-0 to Bournemouth, as you quite rightly point out. 2-goal lead they've had in their last 2 Premier League games. In fact, the only team ever in the Premier League era to have lost 2 matches successively from 2-0 up. But anyway, they won't be thinking of that at the moment. Well, they might be. Tavernier got the first, and it was a terrible error from Pickford. And had not much else happened, that's all we'd be talking about. Pickford's fumble from Solanke's shot, which allowed Tavernier to bundle it over the line. Then keeper Moore gave Bournemouth the second, but controversial because there'd been a head injury to Tarkowski in the build-up, and he was lying in the 6-yard box as keeper Moore headed it over line. Solanke had a great chance for 3. Cook could have been sent off for a sliding tackle. It's all been happening. Bournemouth 2, Everton 0.
It's all been happening at the Emirates. Samoa have gone over again. Katie Smith.
Oh, they have. England are now just over 20 minutes from exiting the World Cup. England 12, Samoa 20. Golden boy Dom Young at fault here. It's been quiet all game. He knocked on in their own 20. A Samoa scrum, another set of 6. It led to a second try for Tim Lafai. This is not going to script. England 12, Samoa 20.
It's half-time in Luton's first game since the departure of Nathan Jones. They're at home to Rotherham. Charlie Slater.
Luton 0, Rotherham 1. A spine-tingling reception for Luton legend Mick Harford before the game, but that warm and fuzzy feeling vanished inside the first minute when Rotherham's Jamie Lindsay smashed a 16-yard volley into the far corner to give the visitors the lead. Nothing American World Cup goalkeeper Ethan Horvath could do about that. Luton responded well. Top scorer Carlton Morris should have scored half an hour in, dragged wide, and then 5 minutes later Alan Campbell fired a rocket at the top corner that drew a brilliant save from Victor Johansson in the Rotherham goal. Luton don't deserve to trail, but they do. Luton 0, Rotherham 1.
Other scores for you in the Championship says everything about West Brom's season, that even though they lead Stoke by 1-0, as it stands they'll be staying in the relegation zone at the World Cup break. 10-man Blackpool are 1-0 up at Wigan, still playing in the first half there. And in Liam Rossini's first home game in charge of Hull City, it's Hull 1, Reading 1 at the break. Up into Scotland then, Celtic Ross County. Connie McLaughlin.
It's 0-0 at half-time. Some huge chances for the champions. But this game, see, to be honest, has got the hint of the last there before the school holidays. You know that kind of vibe?
Yep.
Kyogo had 2 glaring chances to take the lead. The first went over the bar, the second just drifting inches wide of the post. But to be fair to Ross County, they're absorbing the pressure pretty well, and I think Malky Mackay will be chuffed with the performance in the first 45 minutes. They just have to keep that going, because Celtic know that they've got to win this one if they want to extend the lead at the top of the Scottish Premiership to 9 points, with Rangers drawing against St Mirren a little bit earlier. Half time, Celtic 0, Ross County 0.
Yeah, Ross County 10th in the league, but possibly on their course for a big shock to add to their 2 straight wins before it. Every game in the Scottish Premiership is level, so Celtic 0, Ross County 0, Hearts 0, Livingston 0, Killie 0, Hibernian 0, and it's 1 apiece in the game between St Johnstone and Motherwell. Our feature game in League One's at Sincil Bank. Lincoln City against the leaders Plymouth. Shojo Saka.
Lincoln 1, Plymouth 1. Max Sanders drew Lincoln level just before half-time with a cracking strike. A few minutes earlier, his teammate Charles Vernham had missed an open goal from just 4 yards. The game coming to life a little earlier with the opener from the Plymouth midfielder Adam Randall. It was a long-range, low drive, beat the keeper. Both goalkeepers have actually made 2 really good saves each. Even game, even scoreline, half-time, Lincoln 1, leaders Plymouth 1.
Other scores for you then in League One. Sheffield Wednesday are 1-0 up at half-time at Accrington Stanley, and it's Bristol Rovers 0, Fleetwood 1, Burton Albion 2, Charlton 2. Burton coming off the bottom of the table as it stands. Cambridge United 0, Bolton 0, Exeter level at 1-1 with Peterborough United. It's Forest Green 0, Wycombe Wanderers 2, Ipswich 1, Cheltenham 1 up at the top of the table. Ipswich second in the league, just behind Plymouth at the moment. MK Dons and Derby also level at the break, 1-1. It's Morecambe leading Portsmouth by 1-0. Oxford United 2-0 up at half-time at home to Port Vale, and it's Shrewsbury 0, Barnsley 1. Our feature game in League 2, Leyton Orient at Harrogate. Ellen Ellard.
Half-time, Harrogate 0, Leyton Orient 2. Paul Smith opened the scoring for the visitors with his 8th of the season. The league leaders' advantage was then doubled after Darren Platley went on a brilliant run, found Smith in the box, but Jameson came out and met him just in front of the byline and sent the score of the first goal absolutely flying. Ben Speedy then pointed to the spot. George Kerr converted. The hosts haven't sat back though. Lawrence Vigouroux has been called into action on a number of occasions, and the host's best chance came for a Patterson curling ball from the edge of the box, but was expertly palmed away by the Leyton Orient keeper. Harrogate 0, Leyton Orient 2.
Right, let's get you up to date with all of the other football scores. So the rest of League 2, Carlisle United 0, Walsall 0, Crawley are a goal to 0 up at half-time against Barrow. It's Gillingham 0, Northampton 1, Crewe 0, Colchester United 0. Colchester United bottom of the table, second bottom of Keith Curle's Hartlepool United, and they're currently holding second top Stevenage. That's 0-0 at the break. It's Grimsby 0, Doncaster Rovers 1, Newport 1, Stockport County 0. It's 0-0 in the games between Rochdale and Mansfield, Salford and AFC Wimbledon. It's Sutton United 0, Bradford City 1, and at half-time it's Swindon Town 1, Tranmere Rovers 1. We've given you the scores in the Scottish Premiership. Let's go into the Scottish Championship. Arbroath 1, Cove Rangers 0. It's Dundee FC 0, Wraith 0. Morton lead Partick Thistle by a goal to 0. Scottish League 1, Airdrieonians 0, Peterhead 1. It's Alloa 1, Queen of the South 1, Dunfermline 2-0 down at home to Clyde. Falkirk 0, FC Edinburgh 0, and Kelty Hearts currently trailing 1-0 at the break to Montrose. Scottish League 2, the leaders Dumbarton are a goal to 0 up at half-time at Elgin City. East Fife down to 10 men and losing 2-1 at home to Albion Rovers. Forfar Athletic 0, Bonnyrigg Rose 0. Stirling down to 10 men, drawing 0-0 at half-time with Annan, and it's Stranraer 2, Stenhouse Muir 1. That's the football. Let's get back to Twickenham. England-Japan in the Autumn International. Chris Jones.
Half-time, England 24, Japan 6. Enjoyable first half and a lovely dry afternoon at Twickenham. England with 3 tries. Freddie Stewart, Marcus Smith and Guy Porter. Stewart especially has been excellent. Japan have been very enterprising. They've kicked a couple of penalties, but they're desperately lacking a solid platform. No upset on the cards at Twickenham today. Half-time, England 24, Japan 6.
Full times in the other Autumn Internationals. Ireland 35, Fiji 17, and this is a huge shock. Italy 28, Australia 27. If they can be upset in the rugby, they could be upset at the Billie Jean King Cup. Russell Fuller.
But the first set of the doubles that will decide this semi-final has gone to Australia. Sam Stosur, an 8-time Grand Slam champion, playing with top 10 player Storm Sanders. They saved 2 set points before running away with a tiebreak 7-1 against the British pair of Alicia Barnett and Olivia Nichols, who only made their GB debut this week. But it's not over yet, Steve, and if Britain can somehow win this doubles, they'll be in the Billie Jean King Cup final for the first time since 1981.
So Great Britain just behind in that semi-final. What about England in their Rugby League World Cup semi-final at the Emirates? It sounds great. Katie Smith.
And it sounds like Arsenal have scored, but it's actually England topping down for a try. We're going to have a review of this one as it stands, though. England trailing Samoa by 12 points to 20. We only have 16 minutes to go. The ref just pointing, making the signal to have a look at the video review for that one, but it has really woken up in the last few minutes. Steve, we had a huge scrap, all 26 players involved. The tension is palpable. England 12, Samoa 20.
You can listen on 5 Sports Extra on this busy day of sport. Loads more to come after the news with Jill McKenzie.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Ukraine says recapturing the key city of Kherson is a huge boost to morale, but it won't let up on the war effort. Russian troops have withdrawn from the only regional capital they'd taken since they invaded in February. Opposition parties want an investigation into Dominic Raab after he was accused of being rude and aggressive towards staff while he was previously Justice Secretary. His spokesman says he always acts with the utmost professionalism. And a cruise ship has docked in Sydney in Australia with around 800 confirmed COVID cases on board. That's almost a fifth of the people travelling on the Majestic Princess.
This is 5 Live Sport with Steve Crossman.
Looks like we're ready to get underway in the second half then at Anfield. Liverpool versus Southampton in the Premier League, then Sports Report and 606. But now let's rejoin Pat Nevin and Ian Dennis.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, Liverpool are out. Southampton are on their way. I think Nathan Jones in his first game as Southampton manager has been taking every valuable second of that half-time interval for words of wisdom to see if his side can somehow get themselves back into this game as Liverpool lead Southampton by 3-1. Liverpool haven't made any changes, so Alisson is in goal, a back four of Alexander-Arnold, Gomez, Van Dijk and Robertson, Thiago, Fabinho and Elliott, Salah, Firmino, who got the first, and Nunez with the other two, after Adams had initially cancelled out that Firmino goal. So Southampton with Bazunu in goal, a back three of Salisu, Chaleta, Sarr and Kocha, Perraud and El Yunusi as the wing backs, Ward-Prowse, Slavia, Stuart Armstrong, Adam Armstrong and Shea Adams. And Liverpool all in red, playing the way that they prefer in this famous ground in the second half, attacking the Kop end from left to right as we look against Southampton in their aqua shirts, therefore attacking the Anfield Road end where the Southampton supporters are housed in the third of that stand in the bottom tier, closest to the main stand for those of you who know Anfield. But certainly Liverpool, after quite an even first 15 minutes or so, were very much in control at the end of that first half as the ball is over the top towards Nunez, and that's gathered in by the goalkeeper. But they have looked a real threat, Liverpool. Pat Nevin.
They have from so many different areas. They've got wide quite a few times. Robertson's brilliant ball in for one goal. They look really dangerous at set pieces. Certainly Nunez, I mean, he is always on the move, isn't he? And he's improving all the time. And if he got a hat-trick, his first hat-trick for Liverpool at home here, it would be, you know, what a lift it would give him, because everyone, you know, at the start was going to compare him with Holland, which is grossly unfair, obviously.
Ball played forward by Lavia to Adam Armstrong, who shoots. The flag goes up. He did look offside, but of course it was a delayed flag. It was left-footed, and it was straight into the midriff of Alisson, who'll be heading out to Qatar as part of a very strong-looking Brazil squad for the World Cup, which of course gets underway a week tomorrow. And comprehensive coverage. If you haven't downloaded BBC Sounds, then do so. 64 games will be on 5 Live or Sports Extra, which currently has commentary of a very tight Rugby League World Cup semi-final, England-Samoa. We'll keep you in touch with that here on 5 Live Sport as we have the usual goal service on a Saturday afternoon. And here is Firmino able to turn to Robertson, already 2 assists to his name so far. Back it goes to Thiago. Little flick didn't quite come off, but he helps win the ball back. Thiago, as he drops back inside his own half and goes square towards Gomez. Gomez in the centre circle towards Thiago. Forward ball. Fabinho passes it out towards Van Dijk. The fullbacks are pushed on. 3 minutes into the second half. Nunez getting the ball there away from Kocha and doing well. Nunez enters the penalty area and Lavia clears the ball away along. The crowd are really warming to him.
Yeah, because of the effort, you know, there's a lot of talent there. Yeah, he's beginning to score the goals now, but it's the work rate and the effort and chasing the lost causes. Any fans of any club will love that. But if you're willing to, you know, give every effort you have for the cause, and I think Liverpool need that. We were talking before the game about the style that Liverpool play, about this gegenpress. Well, they need young players that have got, you know, real energy and are willing to use it all the time. He's one of them.
Such was the tannoy. I could hardly hear you, let alone the studio instruction. But we'll be getting a Rugby League World Cup update after this corner kick that Liverpool have been awarded. In fact, I could hardly hear myself think, let alone anybody else. Liverpool 3, Southampton 1. Corner kick, far side the left. Robertson to take it. Flicked on and behind for another corner that Robertson will wait for the ball to be passed on down from the supporters in the Kop away towards our right-hand side as we sit in our lofty position here at Anfield. And Southampton have every player back inside their own penalty area. It's going to be another outswinger from that left-hand side. Firmino with a header just over the top, goal kick. So straight to Katie Smith, England-Samoa.
England 18, Samoa 20. They've gone over for 2 tries. England both video reviewed. First disallowed, second given for Herbie Farnworth, converted by Makinson. England back within 2, 14 minutes left to play.
Well, it was a titanic match last night where Australia beat New Zealand and England-Samoa serving up another fine example of top rugby league, and who will go through to next week's final is still unknown at this stage. Sports Extra for commentary of that one. It's also live on BBC television. This is the Premier League, and Liverpool are leading Southampton by 3 goals to 1. And Tottenham Leeds United is being watched by John Akers.
Spurs 1, Leeds 2, 5 minutes of the second half gone. Eric Dyer's just spent 90 seconds down on the deck getting treatment. Kulusevski Kane, effort from distance and in, and Spurs are level as Ben Davies from 25 yards out. Meslier probably should have done better. They couldn't block it on the line. Dyer is okay, he's up. Rocker could have seen red for Leeds. He only got a yellow. It's 2-2, Ian.
Goals as they go in on BBC Radio 5 Live. Liverpool with Fabinho turns the ball back towards Van Dijk. Van Dijk's forward ball. He's playing against his former side Southampton, one of his other old clubs. They're at home to Ross County today. Conor McLaughlin.
Yeah, David Kinkola with the penalty, giving Ross County the lead after. It looked as if it was Haksabanovic, the Celtic winger, who'd handled inside the box. A bit of dubiety about whether or not it was actually in the box, fast as it was, and Kinkola took advantage of it from the penalty spot. Celtic 0, Ross County 1.
Salah with a cross on the right hand side, headed out by Chaleta Sarr. And then Elliott gives the ball away. That goal there for Ross County might be of small comfort for Rangers fans after they dropped more points at St Mirren in the early kick-off. So Celtic's lead is stands at 6 at the moment in the Scottish Premiership.
It'll be a real shocker if it is up in Scotland. And I'll tell you what, this will be a real shocker if Southampton bring it back. Because that third goal, just near the end of the first half, after that Liverpool just, slowed it down, controlled the game and said, right, come on to us. And I don't think Southampton believe that they can do that. I don't think they believe that they can put the numbers back up there again, because they were being picked up so easy at the end of that first half.
That's Pat Nevin. He'll be part of our World Cup squad that'll be out in Qatar, bringing you all 64 games. Firmino did ever so well. He was chopped down by Lavia, the Belgian under-21 international. Quickly got back to his feet, to his credit. Salah on the right-hand side. Liverpool playing from left to right. Now with Elliott about 30 yards out from goal, 2 or 3 yards in from the touchline, and Liverpool one-touch passing in towards Thiago. Alexander-Arnold, Salah holding his run. Instead he finds Firmino, tries to thread it through towards Salah, blocked by Chaleta Sarr, and up towards Shea Adams, who's trying to roll away from Gomez, but Gomez is tight behind him, and he holds the Scottish international inside his own half, although he holds onto the ball himself, does Adams.
There's no options. That's the problem, isn't it? There's nobody there asking for the ball in a forward position that isn't marked.
Ozuna just getting the ball away from an on-rushing Nunez, sliding in with his feet as Lavia slides into the challenge and wins that duel just inside his own half, and Southampton progress towards the halfway line. We've been playing for 7.5 minutes. Kilmarnock 1, Hibernian 0 in the Scottish Premiership. Doncaster have got a second at Blundell Park in League 2. Grimsby 0, Doncaster Rovers 2. Here is Stuart Armstrong. Adam Armstrong had made an intelligent run in field. In comes the cross from the left, headed out by Van Dijk, headed back by Perrault, off the chest of Stuart Armstrong, inside left channel of the penalty area, with his back to goal though. Armstrong now has it on this left touchline toward Prowse. Triangular passing movement from Southampton, but not getting round the back. Now they get round the back. Perrault left hand side, cuts it back. Adam Armstrong, first time effort, cleared away by Van Dijk. Will go to Nottingham Forest. Pat Murphy.
Still 0-0, but Forest thought they'd scored through Gibbs White, but given offside. This after Gator did not hold Johnson's shot cleanly. Gibbs White there on the follow-up, but offside. Forest 0, Palace 0. The check in the disallowed goal. Keep you posted if that decision changes.
Thanks, Pat. Liverpool are coming forward now with Van Dijk leading by 3-1 out towards Robertson. Great noise, great volume's just been increased here at Anfield. Liverpool go back towards the halfway line, and we're going to go back to England Samoa. Katie Smith.
Tompkins tackled off the ball, penalty 20 metres out. Captain challenge by Samoa denied. Makerson kicks. We've got just over 10 minutes to play. England 20, Samoa 20.
Very, very tight. Thiago to Elliott, right hand side, lovely first time control, enters the penalty area on the right hand side, has Alexander-Arnold behind him, he uses him. Salah with a header close range, flag stays down, his header though went over the top, and it's a goal kick. Liverpool 3, Southampton 1. Pat.
Another classic Trent Alexander-Arnold ball in there from the right hand side, puts it on the button exactly where it should be, over the centre back's head. I think Thiago gets in the way of Salah there. I think if Salah doesn't have Thiago running across his eye line there, he probably gets that one target. I mean, he's not the tallest, but we know Salah's not bad in the air, but he doesn't get it on target, and that would have just about finished this game. As it is, a little bit more fighting the last 3 or 4 minutes from Southampton, but they're a long way behind at the moment.
Former Southampton manager Mark Hughes, he's in charge of Bradford City. They've lost one of their last 13 in League Two, and they've just increased their lead at Sutton. Sutton 0, Bradford City 2. Southampton now attacking with Adams to Perrault. Alexander-Arnold there first, and Alexander-Arnold easily rolls the ball out for a goal kick. Good defending by Alexander-Arnold. We're going back to Pat at the City ground.
Because that goal does stand. Originally called offside by the referee, John Brooks. Gibbs White bundled it in after Gator could not hold Johnson's shot. The usual hiatus, the usual replays. This time it favoured Forest, which it didn't do this time last week against Brentford. Forest 1, Crystal Palace 0.
And certainly that first half penalty miss by Zaha proves to be very costly for Palace, as Southampton with Adam Armstrong out to Stuart Armstrong on this near side, the left, level with the penalty area, looks to go on the outside of Alexander-Arnold. He's helped out there by Elliott, and Alexander-Arnold gets a foot into the challenge, and it will be a Southampton throw. We'll go back to Bournemouth. Jonathan Oberon.
Bournemouth 2, Everton 0, and Jordan Pickford, whose clanger gave Bournemouth the lead in the first half, has redeemed himself slightly with 2 very smart saves in the last few minutes. First to deny Solanke, and now Tavernier. It's Bournemouth 2, Everton 0.
Don't forget Sports Report with the results and the reaction coming up before our next commentary on 5 Live. Newcastle United and Chelsea at 5:30 with John Murray and Chris Waddle. Nunez running forward, left-hand side. Down towards the Kop he goes, and last touch came off Nunez, and it will be out for a goal kick. But he's given a real shift today, hasn't he, Nunez?
Yeah, if you can hear me over this noise. You know, it's one of those ones where I think the manager just says to him, give us everything you've got until you run out of gas. And you wouldn't be surprised if he was given a little bit of a rest at some point in time, because you're absolutely right. Every single run that's been on to make, he's made it, and he's got his 2 goals, and he's really deserved those 2 goals just for the work rate, even forgetting for the quality he's added to the game as well.
Hearts 0, Livingston 1 at Tynecastle. West Bromwich Albion have got a second goal at home to Stoke City in the Championship. And we'll go to West Ham. Will Perry.
West Ham 0, Leicester 1. Ben Rama's effort straight at Ward. Soucek's just curled one wide even in face. Really good block to deny Bowen in the 6-yard box. Leicester heading for a 5th Premier League win in 8 games. West Ham 0, Leicester 1.
And I'm sure Will be right at the heart of the action down in the tunnel to try and bring us the early prognosis from that James Maddison injury that forced him to leave the field early in the first half during Sports Report, as Southampton here are going to make a triple change, Pat. We've got Theo Walcott coming on, we've got Maitland-Niles, I can see. Stuart Armstrong is one of the players to come off for Walcott. And then one of the other lads to be coming on is Samuel Adusi, who they signed from Manchester City. So a triple change.
Yeah, Adam Armstrong coming off as well. No real surprise there. I mean, he's worked hard, but he's not really got a lot of change out of that defence. And maybe a little bit of positivity with Khalid Carr coming off from Maitland-Niles.
So the 2 Armstrongs have come off, and Chaleta Sarr, he was booked in the first half. So they're going to change now from a back 3 to a flat back 4. One would suspect Chaleta Sarr eventually coming off for Maitland-Niles.
Well, the way I was looking at it, didn't look as if there was a chance of them getting back in the game, and it looked like it was only a matter of time that Liverpool were going to pick them off. So if you're going to get beat 3-1 or you're going to get beat 5-1, you might as well have a dig at some point in time. And it looks like he's given a little bit of time for those players to get inside the game, get warmed up a little bit, and we'll see if Theo Walcott can do a little bit better up front alongside Shea Adams.
Well, here is Edozie once again. This young man, they've signed a number of youngsters. He's 19 years of age. £12 million from Manchester City in the summer for a lad who hails from Lewisham, came from Millwall's youth system to Manchester City. Just the one appearance during his time at Manchester City. MK Dons 1, Derby County 2 is a latest score. So Derby have come from behind in League One. Tottenham against Leeds United. John Akers.
Tottenham 2, Leeds 2, an hour gone. This is a brilliant game of football. Leeds have just had a free kick. Greenwood, 20 yards out, over the crossbar. Spurs have brought on Sanchez and Doherty. They cheered Royale going off. He didn't have his best game. It's 2-2. Amazed that there's not more.
Two commentaries again for you tomorrow on 5 Live Premier League Sunday. Brighton Aston Villa at 2, followed by Fulham Manchester United at 4:30. Can't be long left in that Rugby League World Cup semi-final. Katie Smith.
And England are going to need the biggest 5 minutes. They trail now 26-20 to Samoa. Sensational incept, solo run from Stephen Crichton. Put his arm in the air in celebration when he was still 10 metres out. Kicked the conversion as well. England now trail by 8, score and a goal.
Commentary on Sports Extra. Stockport are level at Newport, 1-1 in League 2. Free kick goes against Liverpool. The supporters and the bench, minus of course Jurgen Klopp serving that one-match ban, let the fourth official know how about that.
Do you know the interesting thing about Liverpool? You know, they started controlling the game at the end of the first half and the second half there, but didn't raise the tempo a great deal. And maybe that's part of the reason why they want to make the change. Southampton thinking, right, okay, they think they've won this. Let's have a little bit of a go. And these next 5 or 10 minutes are really important to see if Southampton can make some sort of impact.
Maitland-Niles finds Walcott with a first-time cross from the right-hand side, down by the byline, cleared away by Van Dijk, out for a Southampton throw. 61 minutes played. Bristol Rovers are level at home to Fleetwood in League 1. Bristol Rovers 1, Fleetwood 1. You're listening to 5 Live in the World Service here at Anfield. As now it's with Perrault, the left-back, forward for Southampton. Laid off then by El Yunusi, who's gone more into a central role. And El Yunusi now pops up in the penalty area, and El Yunusi denied by a very strong arm of Alisson. Quickly off his goal line, narrowed the angle, and a very important save from Alisson to keep out El Yunusi.
Well, I'm just saying, these next 5 or 10 minutes, you know, we'll have a chance here for Liverpool.
Meanwhile, Salah has dispossessed Kocha. Salah into the penalty area. Salah goes down. Referee has a look at it. Referee says no penalty.
Well, that's the classic one, isn't it? Salah doesn't go down. He stays on his feet. He says, okay, I'm being fouled just now. He thinks he's being fouled, but I should get the foul even if I stay on my feet eventually, he gets a half a shot off, and not even half a shot off, and turns around and says, well, give me my penalty now. But because he hasn't gone down, the referee's not giving him it. He's furious, and I kind of understand. We'll need to see it again, though, to see if there was enough to warrant a penalty kick.
Play continues meanwhile. Southampton, Edozie, edge of the area, looking for the return ball, and Edozie kept out again by Alisson. 2 very good saves by Alisson in the space of 2 minutes to keep it Liverpool 3, Southampton 1.
By the way, Edozie, what a game he's had. He's been on 2 minutes. He's nearly made 1 goal, and he's nearly scored 1 goal. How comfortable he looks in the ball. Cannot wait till he gets the ball again.
And still that ball hasn't got out of play, so that VAR check, I'm sure, will have been completed, but until the ball goes out of play, we're not to know what the VAR has decided about it. Meanwhile, there's been a goal at Celtic. Conor McLaughlin.
The champions are level at Celtic 1, Ross County 1. David Turnbull with his 2nd goal of the season. It's been coming after that penalty. It's been wave after wave of attack. They know if they want to win this game, they'll be 9 points clear of Rangers come the end of this game. Celtic 1, Ross County 1.
I know what you're talking about when it comes to Salah, because Salah in the past has been criticised for going down too easily. He stays on his feet, and then he doesn't get the decision, although, I don't know about you, I haven't had a chance to see it.
No, I haven't had a chance to see it, and that's the point. If it is a penalty, VAR will have a look at it, and if it's a clear penalty, he'll get it. So, but the ball's been in play a while, so we don't really know yet. I mean, he wasn't hacked. It's whether he was pulled back a little bit, which is what he's claiming.
Well, now it goes out of play, and the fact that the free kick, and now you can hear the boos, the reaction from the Liverpool supporters, and even the bench are still now having a word with the fourth official, Pep Linders, in the absence of Jurgen Klopp once more.
No reaction from the referee at all.
No.
Oh well, they've had a chance to do it. That's what VAR is here to do. Those questionable ones, you get a very good look at them.
Ward-Prowse, forward ball, looking for Walcott. Walcott, edge of the area. Adams running in behind him. Excellent block by Van Dijk. First of all, he had to deal with the threat of Walcott, and then he's quickly back to his feet to get a block challenge in on Adams.
Do you know, if you're a neutral or you're a Southampton fan, you wish those changes would have been made at half-time. What a difference, totally different game now. They've lifted it brilliantly. They've made a couple of chances, 2.5 chances, because they nearly had a chance there. And suddenly Southampton are thinking, if they can get the next goal, Maybe Liverpool will get a bit nervy.
You think that that Leeds victory here against Liverpool in the Premier League was the first time in a Liverpool shirt that Van Dijk had actually lost a game in the Premier League in 71 matches when Leeds snatched it right at the end, as Wigan have equalised against the 10 men of Blackpool. Wigan 1, Blackpool 1, Burton 3, Charlton 2, and England-Samoa. Katie Smith in that Rugby League World Cup semi-final.
We have 1 minute, 4 seconds on the clock, and it's all level again. England 26, Samoa 26. The try from Herbie Farnworth, make it so cool as a cucumber, kicking over for the extra 2. We could be heading for golden goals here. It's level, 1 minute to play.
Commentary of that is on Sports Extra. It couldn't be any tighter with 60 seconds remaining. Salisu has just fouled Elliott in the Liverpool half. He has been booked. He joins Chiletta Sarr in the notebook there of Simon Hooper, and Oxford 3, Port Vale 0 is the latest score.
I don't think he just got himself in a terrible position there, but he had to make that challenge. He knew it was a yellow card. Actually, I'd noted down my paper before the referee put his hand in his pocket, but it was one of those ones, if you're a Southampton coach, player, fan, it's a good one to get, because otherwise Liverpool will through and go.
Liverpool still lead 3-1, and we're going to have a moment here for the ball up towards Nunez, just couldn't quite control it. James Milner is going to be coming on, which will be a landmark moment in the Premier League, because he will become just the 4th player to reach 600 appearances in the Premier League. To Deepdale, Betty Glover.
Millwall have got the first goal of this second half. It's Preston 2, Millwall 3. What a game this is. It's Fleming again, his 3rd goal of the day. Defenders couldn't quite clear it, and eventually he managed to tap it into the back of the net. It's Preston 2, Millwall 3.
Cardiff City 0, Sheffield United 1. And there's been a goal at Norwich. Aaron Paul.
Norwich 1 and Middlesbrough 1. What a goal this is from Riley McGee. The ball just nodded on, and he's fly kicked it into the back of the net on the volley, top corner. Norwich 1, Middlesbrough 1.
The Australian has been speaking with great pride during the week about representing his country in the World Cup, as Edozie goes on the outside of Alexander Arnold, and he runs it out of play for a goal kick. So here comes the substitution, and James Milner is coming on. And listen to the ovation, because almost 20 years ago to the day, James Milner reaches the landmark of 600 Premier League appearances. His debut was for Leeds against West Ham on the 10th of November 2002, and now becomes the 4th player to reach 600. What a milestone for the ultimate professional.
Yeah, and so admired everywhere in the game. Attitude absolutely perfect. Can play just about any position at all in the game, and almost never ever lets any team he's playing for, be it England, be it any of his club teams, down. A fantastic professional. 600 Premier League games, and then add all the cup games on top of that. It's been one hell of a career.
And it sounds like one hell of a game in that Rugby League second World Cup semi-final. Katie Smith.
I almost cannot speak. England 26, Samoa 26 after normal time. So pretty simple now. It's golden point territory. We play 5-minute halves. We swap ends. No break in between until someone scores. That's a try, a penalty goal, or a field goal. The players in huddles now awaiting this period of the most tensest time. 26-26.
That's on Sports Extra if you want the commentary. Rochdale 0, Mansfield 1 is a latest score. News of that Sheffield United goal from Laura Kenyon.
Cardiff 0, Sheffield United 1. Chasing down top of the table, George Baldock, the right back, gets Sheffield United up and running, beating Ryan Alsop at his near post from close range. Red flares in the away end, 0-1.
Here is Milner out to Robertson on the left-hand side. Be fine if he could cap his milestone landmark appearance with a goal. Salah trying to play in Alexander Arnold. Quickly off his goal line was Gavin Bazuna, the Southampton keeper. Just for the record, those who are ahead of him: Frank Lampard 609, Ryan Giggs 632, and then the all-time Premier League record appearance holder Gareth Barry with 653. Another goal at Celtic, Conor McLaughlin.
It's for the home side, the champions, and ahead for the first time in this match. Sead Haksabanovic with his 3rd goal of the season just rounds the goalkeeper Ross Laidlaw in the county goal, and you just can't even underestimate how important and significant that goal could be in this title race. If it stays this way, Celtic will go 9 points clear. Celtic 2, Ross County 1.
Just over 20 minutes remaining. Oxford United 4, Port Vale 0. Ball out from Ward-Prowse towards that far side for Maitland-Niles. Ahead of him is Walcott. Southampton still trailing, need 2 more goals to get level here at Anfield. Walcott trying to get round the back on that far side. Nunez is the player who's tracked his run. Maitland-Niles now will deliver the cross and cleared away by Van Dijk. Only as far as Lavia Southampton go back. England-Japan in the Rugby Union, Chris Jones.
England running riot now. They've scored 2 tries in the second half. First Ellis Genge crashing over, and then Owen Farrell's kick through was chased down by Guy Porter, who has his second. 5 tries in total for England. They lead Japan 38-6 with 52 minutes gone.
Firmino running forward, right-hand side, he wins a corner, strikes it off the heels of Lavia. Pat Nevin.
Slightly unusually elaborate there and unnecessarily so from Firmino. He's down the right-hand side and he's got a chance to play the ball into the middle, but it's a little flick. No need to do that. Just get the ball as soon as you possibly can into Salah, who is arriving in the area.
So Alexander-Arnold is eventually going to take this corner kick in front of the Kop with 19 minutes remaining. Still 3-1 to the home side, looking to extend their excellent run over Southampton here at Anfield. Alexander-Arnold waits. Southampton have everybody back. Left arm aloft. It's a right-footed corner kick, and it's headed away by Kotchap, edge of the area, headed further away by Shea Adams, comes to Gomez. Cushion volley ball out towards Robertson, runs forward on the left, delivers the cross. Van Dijk with a header! Drops just wide. That looked very, very close, Pat.
Oh, he's so unlucky. It's one of those ones where he knew exactly what he was doing. Everybody knew what he was doing from the angle he was at. Had that nestled in the back of the net, that would have been one of the classic headed goals. He's very, very unlucky. Had it been on target and wasn't far away, the keeper was getting nowhere near it. Absolutely nowhere near it. He's very unlucky there. It is probably a little bit further past than we first thought. A good 6 inches.
The thing is, from a Liverpool point of view, they've had 3 efforts now in the second half, not on target. Southampton have had 4, but 3 of those have been on target, and you're thinking of the saves that Alisson has made. Lianco is coming on, Kotchap is going off. Our next commentary on 5 Live is at St James's Park. Team news from John Murray.
Well, Chris Wood gets only his 2nd Premier League start of the season for Newcastle, with Callum Wilson only fit enough for a place on the bench after being unwell. Joe Linton returns for Murphy after a ban last week, so that's 2 changes for Newcastle from last weekend. There are 5 for Chelsea after losing their last 2 league matches. There is no Raheem Sterling today for reason as yet unknown. Aubameyang and Havertz are only substitutes, likewise Cucurella and Thiago Silva. So a Premier League debut for Lewis Hall. Koulibaly is also in at the back, Kovacic and Gallagher in the midfield, and Breuer is up front.
Yeah, Lewis Hall had only 2 previous appearances in the domestic cups, Chesterfield in the FA Cup in January, Manchester City in midweek.
Yeah, but he played very well in that game, and I think there's 6 of those players in that Chelsea starting lineup are through the academy.
I was just going to bring you in on that, but you beat me to it. Mind you, let's find out the latest in that England-Samoa Rugby League World Cup semi-final. Katie Smith.
Devastation for the hosts, for England, revenge for Samoa, and what a prize! A place in the World Cup final for the very first time. A drop kick then from Stephen Crichton in golden point extra time. England's players are down on their knees. We have a Samoan fan across the pitch with a flag out wide. This is such a moment for this tournament. Samoa beating England in the semi-finals.
So England have lost earlier, of course. If you missed it, England's women lost the Rugby Union World Cup final. So from an England point of view, they will hope it's 3rd time lucky tomorrow in the T20 World Cup final in Sports Extra England-Pakistan. You'll be able to hear that from 7:30 in the morning. Bournemouth-Everton, Jonathan Oberend.
Bournemouth 3, Everton 0, and its second half substitute Jayden Anthony, who heads in Lewis Cook's free kick. Marking questionable from an Everton point of view, Bournemouth have chucked 2 goal leads in the last 2 matches. Surely 3 will be enough here.
Portsmouth have equalised at Morecambe in League One. Morecambe 1, Portsmouth 1. You're listening to 5 Live, and we have just over 15 minutes remaining. Ward-Prowse trying to get El Yunusi into the action. El Yunusi at the second time of asking does win the ball. Walcott delivers the cross, but it's too deep and it goes out of play for a goal kick that Alisson will take. And Alexander Arnold was the one who was maybe thinking that's all right. He was quite happy to see it go over the top, and it goes out for a goal kick. Now Firmino's going to be coming off, and Oxlade-Chamberlain is coming on. Just to get your thoughts on that Chelsea team news. No, we won't have time for that. There's been another goal at Deepdale. Betty Glover.
Millwall have made it 4-2. The goal fest is continuing. Malone, who came off the bench, whipped a ball in, and Charlie Cresswell headed it home. It's Preston 2, Millwall 4.
Firmino comes off, Oxlade-Chamberlain is on. Given the predicament that Chelsea currently find themselves in, 6 youth products in that starting lineup.
Yeah, and that surprised a lot of players, and there's a number of players there, be it Sterling, be it Thiago Silva, etc., that are, World Cup top quality players, and they're not starting this game. So he either is resting them, or he's thinking, look, I need people who are just going to work incredibly hard, and every one of those young players will at least put an extreme shift in for those 90 minutes.
Bournemouth 3, Everton 0. Nottingham Forest lead Crystal Palace by a goal to 0. West Ham 0, Leicester City 1. Maddison has gone off injured. It was 2-2 at the Tottenham Stadium. There's been another goal. John Akers.
Leeds are ahead for the 3rd time in the match. This is extraordinary. It's Rodrigo again. 5 goals in 4 matches. This is the best of the lot. He's no right to score. Left foot, angle, 16 yards out. Puts it right in the corner. Down low to Lloris's left. The Tottenham Hotspur Stadium stunned. Spurs 2, Leeds 3.
What a save from Alisson. Cross from the right-hand side by Maitland-Niles. And Alisson, I think Adams with the header. Alisson away with a one-handed save towards his right. Keeps it at Liverpool 3, Southampton 1.
They have created chances since they made the changes. Went to a back 4, brought a little bit more attack-minded players on in the wide areas, particularly this time. Great cross from the right-hand side. I mean, he does just about everything right. In fact, he does everything right. You've got to say, well done from Che Adams there. He gets in front of the defender there, heads it down low. Maybe just a little too close, but that's a good header. That's technically exactly what you do with it. That's just a great save by a goalkeeper who is almost unrecognisable when we see a close-up.
It looks like a completely different keeper, doesn't it, without his beard? But it's the same old Alisson, one you can depend on. Ward-Prowse with the free kick, and Southampton's trying again, and diving in was Lianco at the far post. Out it goes for a goal kick. He's making his 150th Premier League appearance for Liverpool today. He has made at least 3 important second half saves to keep it at Liverpool 3, Southampton 1. We'll go back around the grounds in the Premier League. West Ham, Will Perry.
West Ham 0, Leicester 1. Kehrer with the ball across the 6-yard box, just too far in front of Scamacca. Rice just zipped one wide as well for the home side, and I'm seeing James Maddison with his cap on backwards in the Leicester dugout. He's come out to sit with his teammates. Might not be the worst news for him then. West Ham 0, Leicester 1.
Gillingham 0, Northampton 2 is the latest score in League 2, and Hearts are down to 10 men as they trail at home to Livingston. Kai Rolls has been sent off at Tynecastle. Certainly there's still enough time with the amount of substitutions, Pat. If Southampton could get it back to 3-2, they would then be encouraged to try and think they could still salvage something.
3-1 for 10 minutes to start the second half looked like plenty, more than enough. Total relaxation for Liverpool. Problem is, in the Premier League, you just can't relax, can you?
No.
And they've changed it, and because they've come off the pace a little bit, Southampton have come back into creating chances, and there is a bit of nervousness around. I know there's a 2-goal cushion, but there's a wee bit of nervousness creeping around the stadium just now. Liverpool fans would love a 4th goal.
Just over 10 minutes remain. Nottingham Forest, talk about tension. Nottingham Forest could be climbing off the bottom of the Premier League. Pat Murphy.
They're still leading 1-0, and they could have got a couple more. Jesse Lingard twice on the break as they stretched Palace, who were desperate for an equaliser. On both occasions he was just inches wide. It's still Forest 1 with that Gibbs White goal early in the second half. Palace 0.
It could be bottom against top, because Wolves would drop to the bottom if it stays like that ahead of their game against Arsenal at 7:45. Regular updates into 6:06 as Milner wins the ball. Milner doing well. managing to evade 2 challenges. He finds Salah with a cutback, blocked behind by Salisu for a corner kick. Just over 10 minutes remaining then at Anfield. Liverpool looking for a 4th goal just to try and put the game out of Southampton's reach. As Lavia has gone down on the edge of his own penalty area, there's going to be a stoppage in play. It'll give me a chance to run through the latest scores in the Scottish Premiership. The result was St Mirren 1, Rangers 1. Latest scores: Celtic 2, Ross County 1. They could be going 9 clear. Hearts 0, Livingston 1, Kilmarnock 1, Hibs 0, St Johnstone 1, Motherwell 1. Lavia is still down before the corner kick. A goal at West Ham, Will Perry.
West Ham 0, Leicester 2. It's Harvey Barnes after a ball from Perez. Barnes burst through, tucked it under the legs of Lucas Fabianski. West Ham 0, Leicester 2.
Lavia is still getting treatment. Let's get news as to why Raheem Sterling isn't featuring for Chelsea. John Murray.
Yes, Graham Potter, the Chelsea manager, has just explained, Ian, Raheem Sterling has been ill this week. He said just some migraines for Raheem, which weren't too serious. He just wasn't able to travel. So Raheem Sterling not in the Chelsea team or on the bench today for that reason, and likewise Cucurella has been ill this week, but Sterling, it seems, according to the manager, nothing too serious.
John, there's been a goal. Tell us the score. We'll come back to you for the details before this corner. John Akers at Tottenham.
3. Spurs 3, Leeds 3, equaliser, Bentancur.
We'll be back with you very, very soon. The goals as they go in, that's how we like it on the frantic Saturday afternoon. In fact, Lavia is unable to continue. There's going to be a substitution, so we can get some more beat on the bone there from John Akers.
This game's ridiculous. 9 minutes to go. Bentancur, it fell to him right-footed, deflected off Ayling, who's just come on for Leeds. Spurs are pushing forward. Leeds look threatening on the break. 3-3.
Thank you, John.
Do you know, any time I get the call, you're doing Leeds this week, I smile. Honestly, you never know what to expect. I'll tell you what, they're a good team and they're a joy to watch a lot of the time.
Lavia has gone off, Aribo has come on, signing from Rangers, and we have 8 and a bit minutes remaining. Corner kick to Liverpool in front of the Kop, near side the right, Robertson to take it, Fabinho is there, off his head it goes, and out for a goal kick. So that's the 5th and final change that Nathan Jones in his first game as Southampton manager has made. We've given you the Scottish Premiership latest scores. These are the latest in League 2. Carlisle 0, Walsall 0, Crawley lead Barrow by a goal to 0, Crewe 0, Colchester 0, Gillingham 0, Northampton Town 2, Grimsby 1, Doncaster Rovers 3, Harrogate 0, the leaders Leyton Orient 2, Newport 1, Stockport County 2. They've come from behind. Rochdale 0, Mansfield 1, Salford and Wimbledon remains goalless. Stevenage lead Hartlepool by a goal to 0. Bradford City remain 2-0 up at Sutton United, and it's Swindon 1, Tranmere Rovers 1, and the ball is put out of play by Van Dijk. A goal in the Championship, it's at Coventry. Chris Coles.
Coventry are heading for their 4th consecutive win. They lead QPR 2-0. The O'Hare-Gyökeres combination again, and the Swede passes in for his 9th of the season. Coventry 2, QPR 0.
I think I know what's leading match of the day at 11 o'clock tonight, because there's been a 7th goal at Tottenham. John Akers.
Deno, I'm out of my seat, and so are the Spurs fans. Absolute limbs. This is unbelievable. 4-3 Spurs. Bentancur again. Unbelievable.
Spurs 4, Leeds United 3, Exeter 1, Peterborough 2 is the latest score in League 1. Alisson to take a free kick. How long have we got, Pat? Carvalho's going to be coming on.
Well, 7 minutes or so. Plus injury time, obviously, on top of that. You know, again, it's all about Southampton. Can they actually take one of these chances? They're not making a whole bunch of them, but they've made enough. If you could get one of them, it will make it very edgy around here at Anfield.
It would be 5 without a win for Southampton, but for Nathan Jones, there would still be positives for him to take from the performance.
Oh, yeah, absolutely plenty from this. You know, he's made changes. He's learning about his players, the capabilities of them, who suits what situations and what formations. And I think he will be excited with what he's brought on. You know, certainly the start of the game, 10 or 15 minutes, did well. But since they went to 4 at the back, almost a diamond in the midfield, they have looked much better, more comfortable in ball, and they certainly haven't been dominated in that period.
Well, we'll bring you as much reaction as we can before commentary from St James's Park at 5:30 here on BBC 5 Live. Edozie, held up by Gomez, and the ball touches Edozie and out of play. It goes for a throw. So I've given you the latest scores in the Scottish Premiership and League 2. These are the latest in League 1. Accrington Stanley 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1, Bristol Rovers 2, Fleetwood 1, Burton 3, Charlton 3. Bolton are now down to 10 men as they're drawing away at Cambridge United 0-0. Exeter 1, Peterborough United 2, Forest Green 0, Wickham 2, Ipswich 1, Cheltenham 1, Lincoln 1, the leaders Plymouth 1. So Ipswich Town not able to take advantage of Plymouth being held at Sinsel Bank. MK Dons 1, Derby County 2, Morecambe 1, Portsmouth 1, Oxford United lead Port Vale 4-0, and Barnsley are still winning away at Shrewsbury by 1-0. And we have 5 minutes of normal time remaining, and in fact it's going to be a triple change. Phillips, Tsimikas and Carvalho are all going to be coming on for the closing stages here for Liverpool, as Ward-Prowse passes the ball. Edozie, central position, 10 yards forward of the centre circle. Southampton attacking the Anfield Road end. Out it goes towards Walcott. Liverpool, though, at the minute just keeping them at a safe distance, it would seem. And now back with Ward-Prowse dropping in between the two central defenders, trying to orchestrate things, but he's forced to go back, and Bazunu passes the ball out towards Lianco. Southampton now with the Brazilian. Lianco to Walcott, turns and runs into that brick wall of Van Dijk, as we'll get an update from Cardiff in the Championship and Laura Kenyon.
Well, somehow it's still Cardiff 0, Sheffield United 1. The away side close to doubling their lead. Billy Sharp's shot saved Illiman and Jai, failing to bury the follower. Fine margins could be the difference in Sheffield United maintaining that top spot. 0-1.
Here comes the triple change that is being made by Pep Linders in that technical area. And the first player to go off is on that far side. It's Robertson. So it's like for like, Andrew Robertson being replaced by Tsimikas. As if 7 goals wasn't enough for John Akers, there's been a sending off.
Red card for Tyler Adams of Leeds United. Second yellow, no denying it, no complaints. 4 minutes to go. Tottenham 4, Leeds 3. Surely that's it for Leeds now. They're down to 10.
Nunez 6 goals in his last 7 starts, but unable to add for what would have been a first Liverpool hat-trick. Carvalho replaces him, and then Alexander Arnold walking off unscathed as he now turns his attentions to the World Cup and Qatar, and looking to add to his 17 England caps. Nathaniel Phillips comes on to replace him. Crewe 1, Colchester 0, MK Dons 1, Derby County 3. We have 3 minutes of normal time remaining. These are the latest scores in the Championship. Bristol City 0, Watford 0, Cardiff 0, Sheffield United 1, they're going top. Coventry 2, Queen's Park Rangers 0, Huddersfield Swansea's goalless. Hull 1, Reading 1, Luton 0, Rotherham 1, Norwich 1, Middlesbrough 1, Preston 2, Millwall 4, Carvalho away on the left-hand side. West Bromwich Albion leads Stoke City 2-0, and Wigan 1 against the 10 men of Blackpool 1. 1-1 there in that encounter between Wigan and Blackpool. Rob Kelly in caretaker charge. Sports report coming up. Liverpool lead 3-1. 2.5 minutes of normal time remaining, but the amount of substitutions, Pat, we should be looking at least 5 minutes of added on time.
Yeah, there should be, and it doesn't seem to have changed much negatively for Liverpool. As soon as they get the ball, they get it to the left, and where Robertson was hammering down there before, Tsimikas does the same, and he's got a corner.
Corner kick from the left for Liverpool. Van Dijk's header just drops wide. Did well to power it because he was just dropping away, moving out towards his left-hand side, and it must have dropped to less than a foot away of that left-hand post. Out for a goal kick.
He's been unlucky, hasn't he? And that's a couple now. You know, he is very dangerous in the air. He didn't have to power it, and he didn't power it. He just tried to nudge it down to that bottom corner. I think the keeper probably just had it covered, but he's superb in the air, Van Dijk. Absolutely brilliant.
Brentford got their first win in 5 in the Premier League. They ended Manchester City's run of 16 successive home wins in all competitions with that 2-1 win. 2 goals for Ivan Toney, a 98th minute winner. Latest scores in the top flight: Bournemouth 3, Everton 0, Liverpool 3, Southampton 1. Nottingham Forest still lead Crystal Palace by 1-0. Off the bottom of the Premier League they would go, to be replaced by Wolves. Tottenham Hotspur 4, Leeds United 3. 3 times Leeds had taken the lead in that game. Tyler Adams has subsequently been sent off. West Ham 0, Leicester City 2. An injury to Maddison. Commentary to come from St James's Park. Southampton still plugging away. Udozie down the left-hand side with a cutback. Carvalho running back, tidies up, but his clearance only as far as Perrault. Left corner of the area for Southampton. Certainly the scoreline would have been a lot tighter had it not been for Alisson in that lavender goalkeeper outfit, because and it certainly wouldn't have been as comfortable if it hadn't been for his 4 saves in this second half.
Yeah, I mean lots of Fs. I mean, he's a goalkeeper, he's paid to do that, but you're right, a little bit better quality finishing in a couple of occasions as well. Had they got one back, it would have been intriguing to see if Liverpool look as if they've got 1 or 2 gears to go to again. But it's not always easy to do it, as we've seen in the past. When you dip down a little bit and try and see a good game out from a long way out, it's sometimes hard to lift it again. So they've not had to do it, Liverpool, but it would have been interesting to see if it had gone to 3-2.
Here is Carvalho out to Tsimikas on the left-hand side, attacking the Kop end. We're going to find out how much added on time there will be from the fourth official down below, as Liverpool with Fabinho to Thiago. Salah, little touch from him outside the centre circle. He put that up very, very quickly. 4 minutes of added on time, which we're now into.
That would have been the lower limit, I think, either of us would have suggested. 1 or 2 injuries as well.
Yes.
So I think Liverpool will be delighted with that.
Here is El Yunusi over the halfway line for Southampton. Looks up, spreads play out to Maitland-Niles on loan from Arsenal. Walcott now takes over midway through the Liverpool half. Back towards Ward-Prowse, who drops back almost towards the halfway line. Lianco bypasses Salah. Now to Perrault on this near side, the left for Southampton. Adams lifts the ball into the penalty area. El Yunusi with a cross. It's an awkward bouncing ball, but the danger still remains. And the header from Adams with Van Dijk tight behind him just drops quite safely into a more routine save for Alisson.
I wonder if Van Dijk got the header there. I think he nicked in front of him there. It was just such a comfort about Van Dijk there. You thought Adams was going to power it. He was coming at an odd angle. It bounced before it came to him, so it would have been hard to get power behind it. By the way, so brilliant by Van Dijk, but what a shift Adams puts in. Honestly, what a player to watch. A bad mistake there in the back there, managed to save a corner kick, but when Adams is, the managers must love working with him. You know you're going to get so much out of him. He managed to score a goal. He's troubled the defence as much as he could, but just not had enough chances to do anything about it and make a difference in this game. Liverpool have managed the pace as well, haven't they?
Yes. Yeah, here is Salah, edge of the area. Salah onto his left foot, takes the deflections, go behind for a corner kick. Liverpool just looking for that 4th goal. And it's going to be a corner kick.
Yeah, see the phases I was talking about there. What is interesting, Liverpool knew the important ones, got the goals there, but didn't keep on going at 100 miles an hour, because you can't do that every single game, every single week, 2 or 3 times a week. They've managed them really, really well, and that's the impressive thing about Liverpool today.
Under 2 minutes of added on time remain. Corner from the left-hand side, downward header by Phillips and cleared away by the Southampton defence. What about Nottingham Forest Crystal Palace? Pat Murphy.
Forest are still leading 1-0. There's a couple of minutes ago of added time. Palace have huffed and puffed, but they've really not created many chances at all. Forest have held them off with a degree of ease. Nearly there for precious 3 points for Forest. They lead Palace 1-0.
It would take them off the bottom of the table. Bournemouth lead Everton by 3-0 after 4 straight defeats in the Premier League. Could well be Gary O'Neill's last game in charge. 3-0. Whatever happens, Gary O'Neill has given Bournemouth a fighting chance of staying in the top flight. Before that losing run, they were unbeaten in 6. So all of a sudden, if you were to say to anybody of Bournemouth going into the World Cup break, you've got 16 points after 15 games, I'm sure they'd have taken that. In a real humdinger, Tottenham lead Leeds United by 4-3. West Ham 0, Leicester City 2, and the result earlier, Brentford beating Manchester City by 2-1. Commentary to come from St James's Park. But here, Liverpool 3-1, and we're inside the last 30 seconds. How would you sum up this game then, Pat Nevin?
Do you know, it's interesting the way Southampton came out to it. A real belief about their game. When they actually went down 3-1, there was a long period you thought, you don't believe in this. And they didn't believe in it, and the body language wasn't good. But let's look at the manager. He's made a couple of changes. He's changed the system, he's changed the personnel, and he's lifted the game. So even though he looks like he's lost 3-1, I think Nathan Jones can look back and think, okay, at this level, I'm going to have to adapt, I'm going to have to change. And by the way, I seem to know how to do it quite well, so he'll be happy with it. Not happy, you're never happy losing 3-1. But he's actually come out and learned a huge amount about his team, so he'll feel good. But Liverpool with a better side.
There is the full-time whistle, and Liverpool end the first half of this rather unique season on a high. Firmino's early header gave them a 6-minute lead. Adams equalised 3 minutes later, but 2 goals from Nunez gave Liverpool a 3-1 advantage at the break. The scoreline would have been oh so different had it not been for Alisson and his 4 important saves to keep out Southampton in the second half. Thanks to Pat Nevin, it's finished at Anfield. Liverpool 3,